Bang! Neevesknives. I'm Jared, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen, live on Neevesknives. So, just in case if you guys don't know, there are still some REATE EXOKs available. I linked them in the description to Smoky Mountain Knife Works. I'm not sure how many, but there's at least a few left, or at least a couple. So, definitely go and check it out if you're trying to still get one. You know, I would have thought they would have sold out because I made a post, I think yesterday. I would have thought they would have sold out, but they're still available. So they must have had quite a few because this is one of my most requested knives as far as comments go on when it's going to be back in stock. You know, do I know, when, blah, blah, blah. So, I try to announce it because I tell so many people, like, as soon as I find out, I promise you, I'll get the message across, through a community post or something. So, how's everybody doing tonight? Figure we would possibly do a little bit of steel talk. I had a commenter. I'm not sure if he'll show up or not. I did tell him to show up. But Dennis, been a member for 12 months. Hey, you guys. Thank you, Dennis. Much love, brother. Appreciate all the support. And to all the members, thank you guys for all the support. I greatly appreciate it. We do have a members live sharpening this Sunday, so don't miss that at 12:15. Also, I know I'm late on the Patreon giveaway. I'm gonna make it up to you guys. I'm gonna throw some extra stuff in there, so no worries. And I do want to thank everybody that shows up to these, donates, that hits the like button, because hitting the like button is a huge thing for the channel. It's the first and number one way you can support is by hitting the like button. It tells YouTube that it's a good video, so that they're likely to share it. But there's lots of other ways, to support as well. If you want to support, besides the membership and Patreon, obviously there's, just leaving comments, hitting the like button, things like that, which I greatly appreciate. So thank you to everybody who supports. So a guy in the comments, we were talking about steels, and he was curious about the grits. I believe this is what it was about, because man, I'd make so many videos that sometimes people leave comments on a video and they'll leave a comment as if, just me seeing the video or seeing the comment, I'm going to know what video that is. I made thousands of videos, so I won't always know. There's a lot of times I will, but a lot of times I won't, so I'll have to go back and rewatch the video or something like that, which is difficult to do. Right. So anyways, but I believe what he was getting at was curious about the grit for certain steels, because I made a video talking about certain steels take certain grits better than others. And he was curious about that because he had never heard that before. And I don't know who he follows. He did mention a few names. I'm not sure if I know who they are or not. I might or might not. But saying that they never mentioned anything like that. And I agree. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about that either. And that's why that's something I like to talk about. I have heard people talk about it, but it's always been like smaller niche people, not really, like really bigger people talking about like how certain steels will take certain edges better than other steels and hold it. But that also makes sense if you think about it, right? And I'm going to explain. So obviously different steels hold different edge retention, right? We all can agree that some steels hold better edges than others, right? So automatically certain steels are going to hold edges better than others. Now, there's different grain structures in different steels, obviously different chemical makeups. Some steels are tougher than others. Other steels, might be more corrosion resistant, while some have high wear resistant. There's different HRCs, so there's a lot of differences. And when you add all that together and then you start talking about microscopic saw blades, because that's what an edge bevel is. An edge bevel is a microscopic saw blade. So think about it as like a serrated edge, just on a microscopic level. Those little teeth, right? The finer the edge, so the more polished it gets, or the more finer it gets, the smaller those teeth are, right? So some steels are not able to hold on to those microscopic teeth as easily as other steels. So what happens is once you've polished it, a lot of times it comes out slick just from the stone. But like, let's say you were able to hold on to the bite, came out incredibly sharp. Once you start using it, those microscopic teeth get knocked off, and now you're left with a slick edge that's going to slip out of cuts. But that same steel with a lower grit would have held that bite a lot longer. So it's not specifically talking about edge retention. Some steels do hold a little bit better edge retention than others, depending on the finish too. So that is a factor too. But just speaking about the general use, right? Like, let's say an edge can cut cleanly through paper. Okay, cool. But yet when I go to cut cardboard, it slips off of it, right? It doesn't matter that it can cut fucking paper. It matters is am I slipping off of the ropes? Am I slipping out of my cuts? Because just because it cuts paper cleanly doesn't mean it bites into material cleanly. And that's why I love the paper towel test. The paper towel test really shows a quality edge. If an edge can cut cleanly through paper towel, then it is 9 times out of 10 a good quality edge. And I say that as far as like its sharpness, its bite, and all of that, because in order to cut paper towel, the edge has to be fine enough not to snag the fibers, but it has to be toothy enough to bite and tear through. Like if you take a super mirror polished edge with no bite that literally lost all its bite, it won't cut paper towel. It just won't. It's impossible. The mirror polish has to have bite. Jared is such a sharpening nerd, and I'm here for it. I appreciate it. Surgical stainless honed on a pull through holds the best edge. He would say that. Definitely a guy you want to buy your custom knives from. Doesn't it sound like that? Doesn't it sound like a guy you just want to buy a custom knife from? I wonder how good Senkut's budget steels perform in compare to other competitors. Well, it's Civivi's, so I think they're doing a good job. So from my experience with their steels, they do a damn good job. I would say that they're doing better than most with their budget steels. So I've been very happy with Senkut steels. And listen, I've tested a lot of steels that are they're not good, right? While they'll get sharp, and they'll hold an edge for that steel, like they're super soft, or they just and you really experience it when you start sharpening it, because you can take two different knives, both $30 knives, and one sharpens up really good. You can feel the steel on the stone is nice and hard. The bevel gets cut in nice and flat. When it's time to deburr, the burr just pops right off. Did you guys see my video? Oh no, I haven't posted yet. I'm fucking ahead of myself here. I have a video going up on that new TS Prof Pioneer, and in that I'm sharpening is it 14C or Nitro V? I forget. It's a Civivi, but I show a good burr because I literally start touching the burr and you can see it just flaking off as I'm touching it, landing in my hand. Right, that's a good indicator that that's a pretty hard steel, because it's not just folding back and forth, impossible to pop off. But yeah, so I would say they're doing a good job with their steels, especially for the price, because we always got to consider the price, right? They're not selling knives over $50. Those every Senkai, at least everyone I can think of, is under $50. So, considering the build quality, they're using all T8 hardware. They have good action, good geometry. That's another factor. Think about how many $300-$400 knives there are out there that have shit geometry, that can't cut for shit. Then you have a $30 Sencut knife that'll outcut them just in geometry, because geometry is another factor, and that goes into play with the edges too, on what type of edge would be best for certain knives. What are you doing with it? What's the geometry? What angle are you sharpening at? Because angles is a massive factor when sharpening. That is a huge factor. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have a super duper low angle or anything like that, but it is a factor in how sharp the edge is going to come out, and then also how tough it's going to be, because you can have the sharpest edge in the world and it be so fragile, it'll start chipping just cutting anything. So you have to find that balance. Depending on the steel will depend on how that holds up too. um for instance, I talk about all the time, like Nitro V 14C, they hold very, very good low angle edges, but not all steels do. um Steels like say ARRPM 9 doesn't, they, while it's a good steel, it's a great steel, it's not going to hold that super low edge angle as well as 14C, and it's got the tendency to well, I don't know, the one I tested the polish edge on there, it did a lot better than regular 9CR, so maybe I'll take that back. What, when you got a half on your edge? What the fuck are you saying, Nikolai? When you got half on your edge burr and the other side burr just happened to me and I can't get it right, am I stressed? I'm not understanding, Nikolai. I'm sorry, brother. I'm guessing you're having trouble with a burr on one side. I'm sorry, man. I wish I could understand. Durbin's been a member for 17 months. Sharpening is easy. Try resisting the urge to buy knives. Now that's hard to do. Facts. It's definitely difficult. Unless you're broke, then it gets a little bit easier, right? It's only difficult when you got the money. I found that out about ARPM 915 degrees did not last long. No, it'll microchip. It just, and it's kind of weird because it is a powdered version of 9CR, right? So I think they add cobalt in it. I'm not 100%, so don't quote me on this, but I think it's a powdered 9CR with a little added cobalt or something like that. Their plan was to get something in between 14C and D2. That was their plan. But that's not a good statement. And here's why. So D2, while it should have incredible edge retention and should have better edge retention than even some low grade premium steels, it's difficult for companies to heat treat consistently across the large batch. So you'll get a lot of steels in D2 that aren't great, and then a lot of them are great, and then some are just good. So to range it between 14C and D2, it just sounds kind of weird to me, to my ears, because I think of 14 or D2 barely outcutting 14C. Now, and it should it should be superior to 14C in every way, but we just hardly ever see that unless if it's done on a custom heat treat. But when we're talking about large batch production companies, it's sometimes it'll outcut 14C, but it's not like it's like out like crazy, like there's an in between there, it's just kind of weird to say. Alicord's been a member for 11 months. Knife meetup this Saturday, Bristol, Tennessee, Blade Runner HQ. Did not know about that. One side burr by half, second side burr from half on D2. One side burr. I don't understand what that means. By half. What does that mean? One side of the burr. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, Nikolai. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. One side of the burr by half. Second side burr from half on D2. I'm not sure what that means. And I want to see a hardcore review of the Tor number 3 sharpener. Looks like you got to clean it up and tighten the screws and then end up with a top tier sharpener cheap. I'll tell you what, this new one that I'm testing right now, pretty good. For the 300, around a $300 price tag, not too shabby. It's it's TS Prof, you know, TS Prof, you know, their build quality is exceptional. So I guess you could kind of say it's kind of like the REATE of knife sharpeners, you know, but I am about to test some more, some hapstones. So I haven't never tried hapstones, so we're gonna be trying those too soon. Because Jared is more educated than your dumbass on the topic. Listen, thanks, Elias. Stopping in to say hi. Stay edgy, my dudes. Also, Neeves is the Blade Bro Sensei. Thank you, Adequate. Appreciate you stopping in, even if it's only for a second. Joe Brano says, the CPM D2 really that much better than D2? I mean, the ProTech Rockeye operator is $330. So it's a powdered version of D2. I would say on paper, it's like, I think like 7% better or something. You know, it's not like like crazy better, but it's definitely tougher, right? Hands down, definitely tougher because the grain structure is going to be finer because it's powdered, right? It's going to have a little bit better edge retention, but I think that's where I think it has better toughness. Like the toughness goes up more than like the edge retention. The edge retention, I think, is going to be like a 7 to 10% difference. So it's not that much different, but it is still, you know, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. That can be kind of significant to a lot of people. But so the edge retention goes up and the toughness definitely goes up. Now, here's, I'm not going to say it's the negative because it's not, but D2 does best with a toothy edge, right? So D2 can take a mirror polished edge, but it just doesn't hold it very well. It loses its bite. So again, like we were talking about earlier, when you start using it, the little microscopic teeth break off, it becomes slick. Now it's slipping out of cuts. So in order to keep its bite as long as possible, it does really good with a toothy edge, 400 grit, 600 grit. Now, when you start talking about powdered versions of a lot of steels, they tend to get a little, not all, but a lot of steels tend to get even worse with that when you get into powder. While the steels are superior in edge retention, toughness, things like that, as far as holding or as far as taking bite at a high grit, they don't. They're usually, you're going to want to keep them around a low grit. That's my point. Just keep them around a low grit. And that's not all of them, but you know, a lot of them. Like CPM 154 is a great example. CPM 154, I personally would never even take it over 600 grit. It's so fine grained. What happens is while the edge, it's too easy. That's the thing. It's too easy to polish. So, and that's why custom makers love it so much. Custom makers love it because they can literally polish a whole blade easily. And because it's, you know, easy to grind, easy to do all, so it's beautiful to work with. But on the edge end, when you're sharpening it, it also sharpens up very easily. And it's very easy to polish the edge. Too easy. And what happens is you polish all the teeth out. And now instead of having very fine microscopic teeth, it's basically just no teeth. Or at least very, very small, so small that they break off, and also so small that you don't even feel them. But you know, and if you really think about it, think about even just saw blades, right? There's certain saw blades for wood, certain saw blades for steel. The teeth are going to be different sizes depending on, you know, what you're going to be using it for, and certain ones are going to wear out faster than others. You know, same thing, same kind of the same concept. Ryan says, can you give me your take on removing the burr using micro bevels? Like how the Worksharp field sharpener uses 25-degree micro bevel thing. So now, okay, so here's the thing. You're not micro beveling. What you're doing is when you're only raising the angle slightly, and if you apply pressure, you're going to micro bevel. No pressure. That's the point. So when you raise the angle right to the 25-degree from a 20-degree edge bevel, you're not using any pressure. So all you're trying to do is take the burr. Let's say my fingers are the burr. You're trying to get that burr to hit the stone and snag off. That's all you're trying to do. You're not trying to change the grip pattern. You're not trying to apply a micro bevel. So basically, just use the most lightest pressure you can possibly. Oh, no pressure. Like use less pressure than the blade even has weight. no pressure. It requires no pressure to rip off a burr. The burr just has to hit the stone. As long as it touches the stone, it'll snag. Now you're going to have to flip it over and do the other side, and the burr will go back and forth until it snaps off. So you're just trying to fatigue the burr until it pops off, then finish off on the strop. But that's why you can go at a higher angle. But when you do it, no pressure. You want to talk about getting screaming sharp edges? If you can learn how to create a good burr and then remove it professionally or well, that's where you start getting those professional edges, like the screaming sharp edges. It's all about how you remove the burr, how you fatigue the burr, how you remove it. And I'm telling you, no pressure. Just let the stone do the work. You just need to guide it across and let the apex touch that stone just enough that it snags that burr. Hopefully that explained it. Last time I sharpened a blade, has a burr on one side by half on the edge. The other side has a burr from one half to a point. So if you have a burr like half and half on both sides, all you want to do is just go to one side and finish it until the burr creates on the entire other side. So that happens sometimes, and it's because your scratch pattern reached the apex on one side, on one half, than the other. And the reason why the first half reached faster than the other half of the blade is because blade geometry. So even if I take out a knife, Benchmade 940, this gets from here, it's thinner, and then it gets thicker right here, and then it kind of gets thinner and then thicker at the tip. So those are all different geometries and will take longer to sharpen. So when you're sharpening, just know that just because you got a burr here doesn't mean you have a burr here. And it also doesn't mean you have a burr here, because these are different thicknesses. So they're going to get a burr at different times. You could have a burr on your entire edge and just have one little piece at the tip that takes you 30 minutes to get because, it's about the thickness, right? Thicker edges are going to take longer than thinner edges. And when it happens that, say, if you have a burr on this half and then maybe a burr on this half on the other side, just go to one side, pick a side, and continue sharpening until the burr is on the entire bevel from heel to tip on one side. Then repeat on the other side so you can ensure that, or so that you can be reassured that you reached the top of the bevel down to the apex with your scratch pattern from the heel to the tip. You want to make sure you get a burr from heel to tip on both sides. CPM D2 is a good steel, but for the price you pay for it, I find there are better steels out there for the same money. Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's going to be some custom makers that do a really good job, like Medford. Medford does an incredible job. I even thought Benchmade did a really good job, but with today's steel choices, yeah, it's over. It's not even that it's overpriced. It's just that there's so much of it that we're seeing that we're none of us are really experiencing D2. Let's be clear really quick. None of us are experiencing D2 unless if you're buying it from Medford or a custom maker, which a lot of those aren't even really doing that much no more. But yeah, there's superior steels. There's far more superior steels. So for the price, if you're going to pay that much for a steel already, then why wouldn't you just get the superior one? You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't make sense. Now, there's going to be custom makers that like certain steels because they heat treat it well. It's easy to grind. Kind of like we were talking with CPM 154. A lot of custom makers use CPM 154 because it's so easy for them to grind. They're able to grind you a blade and do all their magic easily without frustration, and they know the recipe, they have it all down, so that's what they use. So, but if you have the choice, yeah, choose something that's superior. What is your take on CTSX HP? CTSX HP, I love it. I absolutely love it. Is it basically, which is kind of weird, but on paper, it's basically a stainless D2. Now, I'm not saying acts anything like D2 because it doesn't. I'm saying on paper, it is a stainless D2. But I love it. I absolutely love it, especially if Spyderco is doing it. Spyderco has got some magic in their CTSX HP. I've got some CTSX HP that I couldn't believe how long it took me until I had to sharpen it. And I mean, I was doing my best to make it go dull without like scratching it on a rock, right? I was doing everything but that. Like, meaning I was chopping trees, I was cutting cardboard, and it just kept going. And I didn't want to sharpen it without it actually. I got it right over here. It's the slish buoy. Um, I literally used it trying to get it to go dull, and it just would not go dull. It just kept on going. So finally, it impressed me so much that I had to sharpen it. I was pissed. Like, it was like, if you're not going to go dull, I'm just going to sharpen you. And I was so I was so excited to sharpen the steel because I was like, man, if this thing's holding the edge this long, because it was ridiculous how long it was, almost like unbelievable, you know. But then I got to sharpen it, and holy shit, like it's got to be some of the best heat treated CTS XHP I've ever tried. So like I said, if it's heat treated well, I love CTS XHP, and like that stuff, man. It took such a screaming hair whittling edge, and it's still holding it. Like, it's not even just that it took the edge, it's still holding it. I love CTS XHP. I wish Cold Steel would have never stopped using it. What's everyone's opinion on S45? Do you think Magna Cut will make it irrelevant? Newbie here. I like S45. I like Magna Cut better. I just want to see companies that are using it in folding knives run it 63 to 64 HRC. You know, it holds its best edge around that steel, the way it takes an edge, the way it deburrs, all the good stuff about Magna Cut comes out 63 to 64 HRC. Now, if it's a fixed blade, you know, you could argue a little bit lower because of the toughness and everything, but as long as it's heat treated well, I love Magna Cut. Now, I don't think it'll make S45 obsolete. I think we love all steels, and I think I don't think that I personally would rather Magna Cut over S45. So I don't think people are going to be picking S45 over Magna Cut unless if it's softer Magna Cut. Then in that case, then they should. But I don't think it'll make it obsolete though. Just got the PM2 Warncliffe and CTS XHP. Hell yeah. Good shit. Outpost 76 said he likes OS 8 more than D2. He said most D2 he's tested hasn't been heat treated properly and doesn't hold an edge as good as OS 8. So I and listen, I've watched all his cut tests, and I agree. He hasn't done many cut tests. So let me just be clear. When the cut tests first started, remember, there was nobody else doing it. Companies didn't know there was anybody going to be doing it. So the heat treatments, they really couldn't care less about how well it's heat treated. Well, then cut tests started happening and companies started realizing, oh, we actually got to be honest with our HRC. We actually got to be honest with our steels. And a lot of the steels were being lied about. They weren't even really D2. They were like 8CR. And that was a lot of them. And then they weren't heat treated properly, so on, so on, so on. Like I said, with D2, with large batch production, it's not easy to heat treat. So you can't even blame a company that's heat treating hundreds of blades at once in order to get you a $30 knife. You can't blame them for having crappy D2. It's going to hold an edge, right? It's going to hold an edge, but it's still crappy D2. It's still overproduced or production D2. Sorry, large batch production D2. So that's just the way it is. Now, D2 properly heat treated will outcut S30V. Now I've seen from companies that are doing a decent job, like Civivi, Suncut, they're doing a decent job with it. Their D2 will outcut all. I've never had like an OS 8 that would outcut their D2. There's a couple other companies doing an okay job with their D2. But they've been around for a while, so it's maybe, I don't know. Anyways, but there's still some good D2 out there, but I always prefer a different steel too. And that's the reason why, is because of how inconsistent there it is. And that's another reason why a lot of people might say, I'll take HCR or AUS-8, which I would never say that, but some people might say that just because at least you can get it more consistently heat treated and know you're going to have a decent heat treatment. But yeah, you know, it's tough, man, but there's so much of it right now. But like I said, for what we're paying for it, it's not that big of a deal. And I would say most of it's gonna outcut AUS-8. I would say it's probably gonna, like, even if you watch Cedric and Ada's tests, like he's done some tests on some D2 that outcut 154 CM, that outcut even some like S35, or right there in the same range as S35, S30V. So it does depend on who's doing the heat treatment and everything. Took the Sencut Crowley to hair whittling this week, finished at 600 grit, and then strapped on basswood with gunny juice. Yeah, great knife. Sencut Crowley, great knife. Just got the Urban EDC 5.5 and it came with lock rock. Any ideas how I can fix that? Yes. So I have a video, Mr. Woodcock. It's called how to tune a detent or how to fix a lock rock. You can just look that up too, probably. I'm sure Neevesknives, how to fix lock rock, or Neevesknives, how to adjust a lock bar. Because what you're going to do is you're going to take it apart and you're going to adjust the lock bar's tension. But first, you're going to have to test it. And what you want to do is you want to open it up, feel for the lock rock, know it has the lock rock, right? Like, let's say it gives you lock rock. Don't put your fingers in front of it when you're doing it because you don't want it to fail. Keep your fingers on the side, out of the way, just in case. Check it for lock rock, and then make sure you can feel the lock rock, and then apply pressure. Now, I know this is going to be difficult for you because it's a liner lock. Let me grab mine so I can show you better. I have one right here. So you're going to have to take your finger or shove something in here and apply pressure, pushing it that way. Okay, so get the pressure on the lock bar, pushing that way towards stronger lockup, because you're trying to see if it'll go away. If you can push your lock bar over and make it go away, then this will work. Then what you got to do is you got to take your knife apart after finding out that'll work, and you got to bend your lock bar over to stronger. You want to make the lock bar stronger, basically, so that it pushes up underneath the blade, pushing it up into place. It's very easy to do, but it's also a little goes a long way. So just be careful. Go light. You don't have to bend it far. Like, don't think you have to like bend it. You just need to want to go a little bit farther. But that'll do the trick for sure. Good content. Worksharp sent me the Pro for review, but I still needed to sit and watch your vids before I was getting good results. Awesome. I'm happy to hear that you're getting good results now. I have a couple Worksharp products actually that I recently got that I still have to test. I got a lot of sharpening videos coming up. So we got a lot of sharpening content coming up, a lot of sharpening shorts. I got some videos. I'm going to address some things. I still got to do my felon video, which I'm absolutely doing. I'm going to try to put a lot of work into it because it's a little bit of a story. And I got another surprise video coming that I'm very excited about. Yeah, we got a lot of great content coming soon. Very, very good content. So stay tuned. How sick would it be if the Clydesdale knife came in an optional entire black finish and two-toned blade? That'd be dope. Does the Cubit still come with the little pouch and stuff if I use your link? Yeah, comes with the box, pouch, comes with everything. Wipe, stickers. Yep, it'll come with everything. You're getting it from the company when you use my link. So you're either like, if like, say if you use my Blade HQ link, right? Then Blade HQ is going to send it. They have the packaging and everything. If you get it from any of my other links, it's probably coming directly from Sencut, or sorry, Civivi. So it just depends on which link you use. By the way, I do want to check out some knives really quick. Like I said, the EXO-K is still available right now. I have it linked down in the description if you guys are wanting to get some or get a set. But I wanted to check out some of their New knives. I was looking. Let me go to category. Folding knives. Let's see. Man, this is just all messed up. I want to do this. There we go. I don't really care. I just want. Man, before it had modern ones, but I didn't know that they got some Veros here at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Can you guys see this? Yeah, you guys can see it. So they got some Veros there. I thought that was pretty badass. And then check this out. I didn't even know these guys were in dealers yet, but as soon as I make it there, I think it's on page 2. I don't even know about these guys. Doc Schiffer. It's one I'm definitely wanting to try. It looks cool. But check this out. If it'll ever pop up. Oh, we got the REATEs right here. Check this out. Look at that. We got Something Obscene Mini J Cape. 350 bones at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. I'm thinking about getting it, or at least getting one. I did get to try this one, the LEK, whatever the hell you call it, at Blade Show. It's dope. It's really, really dope. Just as good as our other knives. I mean, their quality's insane. They do a really good job. I mean, I think REATE's the OEM, so it makes sense, right? This guy, I've never even seen these before, but the price tag tells me it's out of my damn price range. But it looks really cool, though, doesn't it? Let's see the other pictures. Yeah, that looks dope. Definitely a gent piece, though. Definitely a gent piece. We're not going to go too far, guys. Don't worry. I just wanted to show you guys that the Something Obscenes were there. A lot of Olamics here, man. I'll tell you what, I do like the Olamic Wayfarer. I think this looks beautiful. I've handled some that were really, really good, and then I've handled a couple that were a little rough. Maybe I should get one. My whippersnapper is top notch. Top notch. Anyways, let me catch up to the comments. I'm just gonna scroll down. If you guys said something that I didn't see, just repeat it, please. I'm sorry that I didn't see it. I'm gonna read John Doe's, but I'm fast forwarding because I am so far backed up. I just plain can't sharpen knives. Is there a company I can send knives to get a tune-up? Anyone you trust? Yes, you can go to Kyle Coonley. You can go to Blades and Fades. You can go to Mike Emler. Those are all great places to go to. No shit, I watched millions of channels. You're the best. I am not kissing ass. I am not telling you you're the best. Only channel I am watching and following who has knowledge is DBK. Thank you, Nikolai. I appreciate it. And yeah, DBK is awesome. That Dutch Bushcraft boys, they're pretty awesome. I'd love to actually talk to them one of these days. I'd love to get them on the channel. An entire story time vid. I'm all about story time. Started very young. Same with the projectile throwing up, though I did quit that. Yeah, I got to bring it back, right? I can't just like, it's easy just to say, oh, my charges, right? But you have to have a warm up, right? Like you have to have a little foreplay. So I figure I would do a full story time. Yep, probably like a 30-minute video or something, and talking about, like skipping through, from like my childhood up until like a certain point, talk about all the crimes, and everything I got involved in, and then and then how I got out of that lifestyle. I figured, I'd end it with that. So it'll be a good video, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get real visuals. I'm going to use stock footage and then also stuff I get off the internet, but I'm actually going to go and film some of my old neighborhoods, and just a little bit, right? I'm not going to get too crazy, but just so I can throw in some real footage in to the video to make a better video. So I think it'll be dope. Yeah, I do too. I watch it mainly for entertainment as well. I'll agree. I agree. But I got to give them credit, man, that when they break a knife, they're pretty honest about, it's the proof's in the pudding, when they break, but they definitely over abuse knives until they break. I've definitely been questionable about some things. I don't want to get into it, but there's definitely been some very questionable things on their channel. I'm not going to fault them for it. I think it's funny. But not funny. Sorry. I didn't mean that. You know, I don't know. Who am I to talk? I can't prove anything, but like the way they use the best tester and stuff like that, like to me, it's like, you know, but I do that with everybody because it just seems like so many people are cheating that test because they don't expect other people to really know the difference. And like the one guy I always bitch about, Ray the Sharpener and I hate to call people out that are also other YouTubers, other sharpeners, other this. And I'm not calling out DBK. I think they do a phenomenal job, but that Ray guy, man, he is lying through his teeth about his sharpening. Like, why do you have to fake the test and cheat the test if you're actually secure with your numbers, right? Like if you're actually pulling really good numbers on a sharpness tester, why do you have to manipulate and lie and cheat the test? And it's so obvious. Like it's so obvious he's cheating the test. Like it's like he might be, he might not be. No, he absolutely is. Like without a shadow of a doubt. Look at the Knock MT20. Just grabbed one from White Mountain Knives. The Knock Knives, I'll have to check that out later. Sounds cool. I do like the Knock Knives. I'm hoping to get more on the channel. Were you in jail long for your felony? No, I was not. I went to jail multiple times, but no, I was never in there for too long. Um, I in the end pled out because they had me dead to rights. So I pled out in order to not go to prison. If I would have fucked up my probation, I would have went to prison. I would have served a year. I was looking at a year, but I turned it around and I did perfect through probation. So I got everything dropped down to not far, but I got it dropped down to a 2 and a 3, class 2 and a 3 instead of a class 1 and 2, which is really bad. Class 1 would have made I would have had to have served time. So that was basically the thing. That's why I pled out, because if I would have went to trial, they would have got me. Like I was caught. So I wouldn't have beat trial, and then me going to trial would have made it to where I would have gotten the class 1. So by pleading out, you know, I got the class 2 and 3, which made it capable for me to have probation. Seth Fletcher, thank you for the 5 bones. Got a jet for now. Night, all thanks for the string of budget knife vids recently. No problem, Seth. Thank you for jumping in and throwing the 5 bounce skis. We definitely appreciate those. Thank you so much. Definitely appreciate the donations, guys. Jared, did you see the Griffin Scout F3 folder? Griffin Co Scout F3 folder. I don't think I have, Aaron. I don't think I have. I don't think so. Maybe you can send it to me. Would you say that Ray the Sharpener grind your gears? You could say that. I used to like him, man. I thought he was like, because he was doing knife sharpening, he was teaching knife sharpening, and I thought he was kind of entertaining. And then when he started using the best sharpness tester, I was just like, I was watching, I was like, he's cheating the test, right? So then it was like, okay, whatever, maybe he doesn't know, right? I made multiple comments on his video on his channel, and never once did he change anything. And then he started going like even harder. Like, it was almost like he's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna cheat even more. And it just the videos just got more and more ridiculous. So then I started looking, I'm like, oh, this guy's a con artist. Like that's the way I looked at it. Like, I'm not saying he's actually a con artist. What I mean is that, when you do YouTube, you can kind of put on a facade. Like you can definitely stretch things and push things if that's your style, right? I don't choose to be like that, but a lot of channels are gonna, right? Everybody knows like a channel where the person's a character, right? We all know channels like that, like where the person's actually a character that's not really how they are. And that's kind of the way I look at him. He's doing it for the views, for the attention, for the just the audience, right? He's not really worried about teaching you how to properly sharpen a knife or anything like that. It's entertainment, right? It's a damn joke. You should tell them they will. It's crazy, maybe a little for audience. You should tell them. I to come on. I mean, I don't know what you mean. Are you talking about the cut testing? I don't know. Like with them, it's a little different. So like with the tester, right? I did a video talking about why you shouldn't trust the tester, right? And in the video, I wasn't saying that the test can't be real. I'm saying that you have to do it honestly, and it's so easy to cheat. And the way you cheat it is just by going fast. And it's very easy to see when somebody's going fast. And when they do, it makes it the numbers lower. So when you see certain numbers that are so low, and you've sharpened knives to hair whittling, right? Hair fucking whittling, and you're getting higher numbers, right? On things with thinner geometry and everything else because you're doing it real. You know what they're doing. And like some people would say, well, maybe their edges are just sharper. Like, no, that's not the case. Like, you can see the way it cuts paper. You can literally see how sharp it is, right? So anyways, but I'm not saying they're doing that. I'm saying that that's one thing like that I've kind of looked at and said, I wonder, but I'm not saying that they are. I like those guys. Like I said, I'd love to have them on the channel. He cheats the test by going fast. So, like I was just saying, you can go watch my video, High Metal, on why you should not trust the best sharpness tester, BESS sharpness tester. And I explain it in great detail. I show you exactly how it should be done, how even the rules are to using it, and then how to cheat it. And you can watch me cheat it right in front of you in 4K or whatever, 1080p. And it's so easy. That's the thing, is that you have to trust the person on the other side of the screen. I would say not most, but a lot of the people that you see use that best sharpness tester are cheating it. A lot of them, because it's so easy to cheat. And everybody, this is the problem too. This is the problem. The lower the number we think, the better. That's not true, right? So that's what we got to get the fuck out of our heads with the sharpness. 23. Let's say you actually pulled a number 5 on there, right? Or number 10, like on that tester, right? That would be crazy sharp, right? Like you'd be like, this thing should be splitting atoms, right? That edge wouldn't last cutting through cardboard because it would just flake off because it'd be so fragile, right? So when you're doing a properly sharpened edge, it's not all about sharpness. There's the sharpness and then the stability, right? The edge has to have stability. So while you can get incredible numbers on a sharpness tester, that doesn't show you anything for real life on what's going to happen when you start using that edge. Is it going to roll? Is it going to microchip? And how easily is it going to do that? So when you start putting in those factors, you start realizing that's just one factor, right? And that one factor it plays with our minds. It makes us think that, oh, if my number's higher than that guy's, then my edges aren't as good. When that's not the case, that's not how it works, right? You could have, like, say, with the same knife, 150, and while another guy had 100, and your edge could possibly be better. And also it doesn't test like the level of bite, like just a lot of different things, right? Like, did you hit the apex on the entire edge bevel? Is the entire edge bevel set perfectly? Like, I can make a wonky edge right now, make low numbers on a best sharpness tester. And I'm talking about, it's an edge I would never want to put on a knife, but it's super duper sharp. But as far as quality goes, it's not. You know what I mean? So like, it's just one thing. And we put so much into it that it depletes it depletes what we really should get from an edge, like, or what we should congratulate, I should say, what we should be applauding, right? And I'm not saying I love high levels of sharpness too. Like, trust me, like I love fucking whittling hair and shit like that. So like, I'm all down for having high levels of sharpness. but it can't be at the detriment of a quality edge. Does that make sense? Um, 5 on the best, must have used the both. Only with one of your knives. Only with one of your knives. That would be the bodyguard sharp. Stab that like button like you're in the Bilderberg group meeting, lighten them up. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, Elias. Geometry does matter. There's Kyle. Shout out to Kyle Coonley. Best test is BS. Too many factors. Don't trust them. Yeah, like I said, if you trust the person doing the test, like Jeff Jewell. Jeff Jewell is one trust me, you can trust his test. He does them 3 times and does the average exactly how it's supposed to be done. And you can actually watch him going nice and slow. Like, it's easy to see that Jeff Jewell is being honest with the test, right? It's so blatantly obvious that he's being honest with it. And if you watch what he does and then watch what somebody else does, and I'm not saying you have to do the 3 every single time. That's the way to really get a good number. You could just do it once and just say it's about that, you know. It's better to do the 3 because you're going to have 3 different numbers and then you take an average of the 3. But if you're only going to do it one time and because you don't want to waste the string or something like that, that's fine. But you just got to make sure you're going as slow as you possibly can. That's the point. And it even says on the thing that the numbers will lie if you're going fast, which it's difficult for you to see whether or not I'm going fast or slow. Like, because you're seeing it from like over here, and I'm like, you can't really tell if I'm going fast or slow, you know, or if you can, then it's blatantly obvious. Theoretical versus practical sharpness. There you go. Said it better than I did. I'm gonna put the Kevin Costner edge on my knife. You'll always be my bodyguard. That best tester really needs a robotic arm that the blade is clamped into and a consistent amount of pressure is applied until the wire breaks. That's true. That would be really cool. That would be like a real like accurate test, because in that case it's the same across the board. That would be that'd be a really good way. I thought about like this. Trust me, I know this is stupid, so don't put too much thought into it. But before the best sharpness test ever came around, I was thinking of how to do it. And what I started thinking about was, okay, I could take some type of material, whether it's cloth, paper, plastic, something, hang it from the edge with a certain amount of weight, and then test how much weight it takes to cut it to see, you know, like how sharp it is, you know. And I was thinking, that's stupid. But I was thinking of all different kinds of ways to test sharpness. But the best way out, from my experience, is paper towels. Paper towels give you the best feedback. Better than paper, better than hair, better than all that. I love the dude that tests the blades and says it will kill if it passes. That's the ultimate test. If it'll kill, it will not kill. Throw it away. The other thing people don't consider is the consistency of the media being used to cut through. Katra, pre-made versus people winding their own. Speaking about Katra, you know, that's another thing. Like with their tests, when they do their tests, like I don't even trust the Katra tests anymore. Like I used to think like that was like the end all be all knowledge of edges and what steel is the sharpest, but now I don't even know if I trust any of their numbers. And the problem is we have so many graphs and charts based off of their numbers, but then when you hear how they're like how their edges are and how they're not properly sharpened and how they're not properly deburred and all those things, it starts making you question it. But yeah. Edward Brown, 5 bones. Thank you, brother. If I have to sharpen one more inconsistent Benchmade at work, I swear to God, one takes a burr on a few passes and one takes 10. It's all heat treatment. Heat treatment and geometry. Geometry plays a huge part in how long it takes to sharpen. So you can have a super thin knife with the best steel with the best heat treatment that'll sharpen up so much faster than something with a soft steel with a shitty steel, or not shitty, sorry, a lower grade steel, but it's thick, so it takes like 10 times longer. Geometry is the biggest factor when sharpening on how fast it's going to be, even more so than the steel itself. Steel itself is the second part, and heat treatment, like you said. Do you EDC any type of multi-tool or just a knife? Right now, just a knife. I EDC'd multi-tool my whole life. I did construction my whole life. So, and among a lot of other things. So, I've always been kind of somebody who gets his hands in just about everything type of person. But I always carried a multi-tool for that reason, you know, because I never knew what I was going to run into. And I mean, like, literally, you never know what you're going to run into. The shit that I used to do, absolutely crazy. So, because I never knew what my day was going to, you know, bring to me, I would always carry a multi-tool along with all kinds of other tools, but I'm not doing that anymore. So because I'm not doing that anymore, I really don't need a multi-tool at the moment. When I move, I'll probably carry another multi-tool and start getting into testing more multi-tools. Just right now, it's just not, you know, not my thing. Tried my luck with stones. Wasn't for me. Just got the Work Sharp Pro, hoping to fare better. It will, because it's going to hold the angle for you, Steve. You should definitely get a lot better results. Just understand what it takes to sharpen an edge. Understand what it takes to create a bevel, because everybody thinks they understand until you're actually doing it, right? Or until you actually understand, and then you realize how much you didn't know, right? So watch my videos. I have plenty of videos on different sharpening systems and things like that. So definitely watch them, but you'll get good edges from the Work Sharp Pro sharpener. You just be patient and you know, take your time and pay attention to what you're doing, you know. And also watch my tips and tricks video, Steve. That's going to save you a lot. Watch that video, tips and tricks. And I use the sharpener that you're talking about in that video, and it'll help you make sure you don't fuck your tips up. And I basically just show you pro tips and tricks on how to get a quality edge from that system, from any sharpening system, by the way, from any fixed angle sharpening system. But yeah, freehand's always going to be harder because you have to hold the angle. You have to be the angle. Have I missed anything important? Are those REATEs on sale or something? Yes, they are. They are linked in the top of the description if you want to get one. Osler, thank you, man. Holy shit, coming in hot with the 20 bones. What's your opinion on the top middle of the road steel for EDC? Top middle of the road would be 154 cm. I think 154 cm would be the top mid-grade steel right before you get to premium steels. So I would say starting with premium, I would say is S35. S35 is like the beginning of premium, then S30V, and so on and so on and so on. As far as mid-grade goes, I would say that's 154 cm, 14C28N, D2, AUS 10, 10CR, N690, things like that. ARRPM 9, 9CR, blah, 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 blah. Then as far as below that, I would say that's when you get lower than 9CR, when you start getting into really simple steels. Even though the mid-grades are still simple, they're not as simple. So I would say when you start getting into budget, like not budget, ultra budget, let's call it ultra budget steels. When you start getting into ultra budget or budget steels, so lower than mid grade, you're going to start at like 8CR, AUS 8, things like that, and then lower. 440 would definitely be in that boat, but 440C would definitely be in mid grade. So 440C is a good steel. It's similar to 9CR. So thank you for the donation, brother. I do appreciate it. What did I miss? Thank you for the 2 bones. Bones? Not too much, just shooting the shit, talking about steels, sharpening, and you know, stuff like that. I just got a little package in from Bones. He sent me my arch nemesis fruit snacks. But he also sent me another fidget toy, which is pretty cool. He kind of got me with the first one because I sit here like crazy, and I've been a fidgeter, but never with a fidget toy. It's always been with something that's dangerous, you know, something that's going to cut me if I fuck up, like a knife. Hello, Neves. Been watching you for a long time now. I live in Australia, and I bought a diatomic black titanium, and a Civivian Sizer 2 karambit. Only got the diatomic so far and love it. Hell yeah. Very cool. Well, check this out, Rampage. What's this? On the 7th, there's another knife coming out from We that is, I would say it's a tactical knife. It's not just like the diatomic. It's completely different, but it's a tactical knife still, and it's really, really good. So watch for that video. And then as far as Civivis goes, on the 7th, guys, they're dropping, man. The 7th, probably the best budget knives out right now are dropping on the 7th. You guys will see when they drop. I'm sure most of you guys already know what they are, so they're really good. Am I looking at getting a cold steel? I am looking at getting a cold steel Espada large and a Kaval Kamasu. Yeah, those Kaval knives are dope. I like the Kaval knives. I do have an affiliate link for Kaval, which is really cool. But yeah, the Kaval knives are really, really cool. I'm always excited to see what they have next. And I'm pretty sure I got something on the way from them right now. So I'm always excited to see what they got coming. Along with a lot of other companies too. There's a really cool knife coming from Migaron right now that I'm really excited about. There's also something coming from Max Ace that I'm really excited about. So 154 CM and S35 are legit the best. Beat the crap out of this knife steel. Yeah, I love them both. I think I personally like 14C a little bit more than 154 CM, but 154 CM will definitely outcut 14C as far as edge retention goes. But 14C has other qualities about it that I love more than 154 CM. But as far as 154 CM and S35, they're a lot closer than you would think. But they have some of the same qualities, like as far as the way they take and hold bite on their edge. They both do really well with medium grit edges. S35, you can put a polished edge on it, but it's gonna get slick rather quickly. So it's good to leave something with some grit on it. You know, like my favorite 600 grit for 154 CM and S35 VN. I think that's just like, especially if you have the right angle. If you're doing the right angle, that's like the perfect edge finish on those steels. High metal with the 5 bones. Appreciate the 5 bones, man. Thank you so much. What's the difference between lapping and stropping? So lapping is a film, but not much. The difference is I guess there's certain lapping films that you can actually sharpen with, but you can say the same thing with stropping. So not much difference. I personally like stropping, but yeah, it's just it's an abrasive on top of a surface that's being used to refine grit. Now, as far as lapping films go, I personally, and just like stropping, I wouldn't sharpen with lapping films or stropping compounds because I want to cut my bevel in, right? And I normally, in most cases, am not just taking the same angle that's already on the knife and refining it. I'm going to take and cut in my own edge bevel on whatever knife I'm going to sharpen. So since I'm adding a whole entire new edge bevel with my angle and my grit that I choose, I want a good coarse stone to do that. And then as a finishing thing, I might use stropping and lapping. Now, as far as edge maintenance goes, there's not going to be much difference between lapping films and stropping. Not much. You could be as long, but I guess you could say with lapping films, you know, I guess you have to have different surfaces, but you can peel them and stick them. With stropping, you're going to have multiple different strops. With lapping films, you can put them on and reapply them and stuff. So, you know, that's definitely a big difference. Any opinion on the D2 coming from Midgard Messer? No, I've never tested it, so I don't know. I've been trying to get them to mess with me, but they for some reason, I don't know, they tend to avoid me. Where was something obscene JCape available? At Smoky Mountain Knife Works, link down in the description, Aaron. Link down in the description on the second page. So just go to the categories, folding knives, and then go to the second page. Or just type it in. You'll find it. Hell no. Smoky Mountain Knife Work is down, or is it just me? I'm on it right now. It looks fine to me. I'm on it. It must be just you. If you want, I'll get you the link. If you want me to just get you the link, brother. Here, I'll grab you guys the link. You guys want to see that JK? You guys want to see that JK? Here we go. You know, I'll just in case, I'll just grab the entire page for you. I'm just going to grab the entire page. So scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. So it's at the bottom of the chat. Just click that and scroll down to the bottom of the page and you'll see them if it'll ever go through. Hey, Blades and Fades is in here. We were talking about you earlier, brother. Shout out to Blades and Fades. There's a knife sharpener you can contact if he has his books open. I can't I don't know if he does or not, but if he does, have you got to try out the Sparrow Strix? No. And it pisses me off because I really like the look of that knife. I really, really, really love the look of that knife, but I just haven't been able to get my hands on it. You know, I might eventually have to just shell the money out and get it, which is fine, you know, but I have to spend money wisely on the channel, you know, and the Sparrow aren't something I can link or anything like that. So I have to be careful, you know, but there are some knives that I'm probably going to be shelling some money out for. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but GP Knives. Let me show you guys. Oh man, it looks so dope. I really want one of these. I'm probably not going to get one, but I really, really want one. I'm going to show you guys. Oh, I love this. This is so badass to me. USA made. Yes, sir. USA made. You guys see that? Yeah. Right here. Look at this thing. Oh, no. No. We can't do that. But check that beauty out. Oh, my goodness. Doesn't that look gorgeous? But they only have like 4 of them. So if you want to get one, use my GP link down in the description. That is the Heretic Wraith. It's gorgeous to me, though. I personally think that thing is gorgeous. Did you guys see that? Could you guys see what I was doing? Hold on a second. You guys seen that, right? Yeah, you guys seen it. Okay, just making sure. But I want to try the Sparrow, though. I just have not yet. Double D10. Been a member for 1 month. What are your favorite Manix 2 aftermarket scales? Ooh, I don't know. I like the Flytanium ones that I have on one of mine. I only have 2. Do I have 3? No, I mean, I only have 2 aftermarket sets. I have Flytanium and then that brand from Etsy. I can't think of the name of it. So I would love to see Original Goat do some. If Original Goat had some Manix scales, then I would say Original Goat. But I'm not sure. I don't think they have Manix scales, unless I'm wrong. Does anybody know? Do they have Manix scales? I don't think they do. But for now, I guess I'll say Flytanium or, you know, the ones off of Etsy. I just can't remember their names. Somebody else probably does, though. Do you think VOSTEED will do the Nightshade in a crossbar lock version? I still say Kaiser's clutch lock is unmatched right now. Kaiser's clutch lock is definitely unmatched. And yes, I do think they will. They did a mini Nightshade, just so you know. I don't know if you know that or not. They did do a crossbar lock Nightshade. I'm not sure about the big ones though. And yeah, the clutch lock is definitely unmatched right now, for sure. Sharpen my S45 Malibu to 15 degrees per side, 1,000 grit. It finally cuts. Yeah, well, 15 degrees per side is a nice, very nice angle, low angle. I wouldn't recommend it on all blade geometries, but on that, it's obviously a nice big bevel. And yeah, that sounds beautiful. Kaval makes some cool little blades. Expensive, but I like. Yeah, you know, you get what you pay for, right? I mean, obviously, there's going to be some times when you're just getting ripped off. I meant the Nightshade large version. Yeah, the large version, I'm sure they will. I don't see why not. XHP is one of my favorite steels. Only non-sharpeners try to say it's the same as D2. They don't understand that it doesn't need a major different composition to have significant performance increase. No, absolutely not. And that goes for any steel. Like even when I say like CPM 154 and 154, they're the same steel, the exact same steel, but sharpening wise, it's completely different. Now, I guess not completely, but they're a lot different. So 154 CM is going to take, between 600 and 1200 grit, in my opinion, the best. But CPM 154, 600 grit is like 1200 grit. It's so fine grained. It's so easy to polish off the teeth that it that my thing didn't work. My link didn't work. Sorry, guys. I'll put it in the description. So I literally just dropped it at the top of the description. I'm not even going to put a name on top of it. Just click the link at the top. I'm sorry, guys. I thought it went through. But yes, yeah, on paper they're the same, but they're definitely not the same when it comes to sharpening. Sometimes it's the small tweaks that make the biggest performance increases. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Gonna sharpen up one of the kitchen knives this weekend. Cheers. Yeah, sharpening kitchen knives is a great way to learn how to sharpen too, because they're relatively thin in most cases. Just don't try to do a super low angle, but the problem is sometimes people choose really big knives and it's a little bit more difficult to hold that angle on a big knife. But as long as it's not too big of a knife, those are great to learn on. I'm not saying you're learning, but for people that are learning and they want to try kitchen knives, because you can kind of beat up a kitchen knife and it doesn't really matter. Do you know if he's checking his emails by himself? He can't talk English. If you want, I could be your German Neevesknives outpost. Who? DBK? Oh, I don't know. I've never tried. I've never tried to contact them. I think I tried on Instagram one time or something. I don't think so, though. I might not have. I don't even think they know who we are. So, I'm just finding out that somebody else who supposedly didn't know who I was. I'm not sure if I believe it or not, though. I had one of the manual heretic rates. Mine was a carbon fiber integral. It wasn't that great. Oh, really? It wasn't that great? Really? They look so good, though. Okay, I'll take your word for it, Luck, even though you're using fucking pull-throughs. I'm kind of questioning whether or not I should believe you right now. With all that pull-through talk. Hopefully, hopefully Costa comes out with more compression lock knives. Hopefully VOSTEED comes out with more compression lock knives. Yeah, I think they will. I think we're going to see it from other companies too. I pretty much can guarantee we're going to start seeing a lot from other companies as far as compression lock goes and their version of it. Hi, chat. My thought is, unless your blade is destroyed, go to Neeves to learn to sharpen your on blades. With the money you save, you can buy a new knife. What's up, Jared? Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Learning how to sharpen will change a lot for you, man. It makes it to where, obviously you can sharpen your own stuff, but you can also sharpen other people's stuff, and it's such a useful task. But some people get this and some people don't, but to a lot of people it's therapeutic, and to me it's absolutely therapeutic. It's something like, if I'm super stressed out, like, don't get me wrong, if I'm like angry, I don't sit down and sharpen. But if it's like something like, man, I just need to get my head clear or something, just sitting down, me, the stone, and the knife, everything else goes away. And a lot of people say the same thing, so it's not just me saying that. There's so many people that use it kind of for therapy. Now a lot of people get more frustrated, so it's kind of the opposite. So it just depends on you. Dan Panella, thank you, man. He's been a member for 2 months. We do have a Bang Gang membership live on Sunday, so don't miss it, guys, because the members, we're going to do a giveaway on Sunday. So if you're a member, make sure you're there, 12:15 Central Time on Sunday. Jared is the bomb diggity, and I've learned more from him in 5 minutes than all my knife research over the last few months. Listen to him and smash that like button. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much. Rock scale makes great skinny manics. Yeah, I would have said them, but I haven't had them. But I want to try some because I would love to get the skinny set. Maybe I should grab some of those. Um, but hopefully VOSTEED comes out with more. Oh yeah, I think I already read that. How does M4 stack up to crew wear? Um, I mean, crew wear is they're just different, but there's also a lot of similarities too, I guess, to some extent. But uh, what was that new steel? There was a new steel that the Vanadis. That I'm not going to talk about too much what it's on, but the Vanadis steel is supposed to be dope. It's supposed to be like 4V. It's supposed to be somewhere in between. Like it's supposed to have how's it go? Better edge retention than 3V, but tougher than M4, I think it is. But as far as M4 goes, I personally love M4. I think it's a phenomenal steel, but I like crew wear even more. I think crew wear is one of the best steels for knives you could get. Um, if you appreciate high levels of sharpness and sharp edges, like that's not for everybody, right? Like some guys, like they just need a sharp edge that's gonna last a long time. Now crew wear doesn't have the longest lasting edge retention, but what it does have is the ability to hold on to a fine edge for a long time. But once it loses the fine edge, it dramatically drops. So like it has no working edge basically. Like a lot of steels have longer lasting working edge than they do finer edge. So meaning like say if we say fine edge is how long it'll shave hair, right? Then working edge will be how long it can shave paper, right? The ability for it to shave hair is going to go away before its ability to shave paper. Well, crew wear, once its ability to stop shaving goes away, the ability to cut paper is going to go away really quick after, not much after. So, but its ability to hold that fine edge is a long time. So, and it takes ridiculously sharp edges. Like, especially if you like mirror edges and things like that, low angle edges, crew wear is amazing. I love crew wear. It's one of my favorite steels. So I personally, between those two, I personally would go with crew wear. Um, uh, Original Goat does do some mill titanium scales for the mags. Do they? No, anodization. I don't want any anodized ones. That's cool. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to check those out. I did not know that. They must be pretty recent, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Jared, do you know what HRC Heretic is doing their Magna Cadet? No, but if I had to guess, fucking soft as shit. I hope it's not. I don't know. I hate the man. That was bad. That was bad. Let me take that back. I don't know. I hope they're running it at 63 to 64. Um, but I have no idea. I'm so sick of the the really premium knife companies, which don't get me wrong, there's a lot of them in the US that are doing a bang up job. They're just hitting home runs with their Magna Cut. But then there's a few outcasts that they just don't want to, I don't know. They want to do it soft. Isn't that weird? Like I would never want the reputation of having soft steels. If I was like a leading American knife maker, fuck me, man. I would want to be known as like the one who does like great heat treatments, super hard HRs. I don't know, whatever. Hey Jared, have you seen Knives Fast Knives? I have the micro burst and I ordered the jet stream. No, but I just sent a package his way. But no, I have not seen those. I only ever got to try his first knife, or no, his first two knives, I think. Am I right about that? But I have not tried those newer ones. So he doesn't like me anymore. So he doesn't want to send them to me. No, I'm just playing. I just haven't tried them. What kind of edge would you put on a Boker Kalashnikov Voss 8? So personally, I don't like OS 8. I not saying to throw it away in the garbage or anything, but if I was gonna put an edge on that, I would say don't put too low of an angle. Those have relatively thicker geometry. They're not super thin. They're not also super thick, but they're not thin, right? So you're gonna want somewhat of a lower angle, but not like too low of an angle, if that makes sense. So I probably would go about like a 20-degree edge bevel on there, maybe 17 if you really, really want it slicey, but you want to be careful with 8C with OS 8 HCR. You want to be careful so it doesn't microchip. So what I would say is go 20 degrees per side. That'll keep the toughness in there, and do a 600 grit, between 6 and 1200 grit. OS 8 will polish very well, but it'll just get slick after you start using it. So in order for it to hold bite for a long time, and it's already a steel that doesn't hold an edge very well as it is, so in order for it to stay cutting for as long as possible, um, to the edge is what you're going to want to do, or medium grit, 600 to 1200 grit, 20 degrees per side is what I would do with that one probably. Love the look of his edges, no doubting. Just want to hear what everyone thinks. Um, anyone here had a sharpening from blades and fades? I'm sure a few people have. I've definitely looked at his edges up and down. I've watched him sharpen, and I can definitely say he does an incredible job. He does a really, really good job. And also, um, not saying that we, probably agree on everything, but from what I see that he does a really good job with his edges. And he's very, very picky. Not picky, let me be clear. He's very OCD, and he's a perfectionist. He's a perfectionist with it, which is a good thing with somebody doing an edge. Because if they're a perfectionist, they'll go out of their way to make sure something's perfect. Now, the problem is being too much of a perfectionist can backfire. So, and I've recommended to him probably a couple times to be careful with that, because you can get yourself in deep water trying to fix or trying to get something perfect that's not supposed to be perfect yet. Like there's some knives where in order to get the entire scratch pattern down to the edge bevel, you're going to have to remove a lot of steel, especially for a low angle. So in some cases, you'd want to just get 99% of the edge and then get that last 2% on the next sharpening. Just so you're not, because it's your job as a sharpener to not waste steel, right? Like let's say if I can put the best edge possible on your knife, but I'm going to take 2 years of life off of it to do it. Right? That's not very professional, right? You wouldn't want to know like, oh, you're going to sacrifice 20 edges on my knife to get one good quality edge. Like, you know what I mean? So, and there's sometimes that happens. Like there's pitting sometimes in edges where there's like literally, it's almost like there's like a pothole. And in order to get that pothole out, you have to sharpen all the way up to that. So that's a lot of steel. Rather than do that, leave the pothole, get it on the next sharpening, get it when it comes out. A lot of people aren't going to understand that, but if you're a sharpener, you probably will. Just polished a Benchmade, peak it down to 0.25 microns. My favorite overall knife. I wish they would make another. I don't even know what that one is, but there's a lot of knives I wish they wouldn't discontinue. I'm definitely learning, but if I somehow mess up the kitchen knife, my grandpa knows how to sharpen it back up. There you go, Jeffrey. Awesome. It sounds like you got a good grandpa, man. My dad was definitely somebody. He wasn't, I'm not saying my dad did the best edges or anything, but he definitely did what he could to teach me how to sharpen. Not saying that I learned all my sharpening from him, but he had me doing it. As a kid, he still gave me the stone, gave me the knife, made me sharpen up my own tools. He made me do all that, which is really good. So shout out to your grandpa, man. Sounds like you got a good grandpa. I have not done business with him. However, he was helpful and cool when I messaged him about something else. Who was the fella that played dumb about that mod dust up? That was Birdshot. But I don't want to say too much about that right now. He messaged us, and I'm gonna keep it personal, private, because we haven't messaged him back yet. We're gonna message him back, but so we're gonna message back. And listen, like I said before, I've always liked Birdshot. I've never had an issue with Birdshot. I thought that they had an issue with us, but maybe it was a misunderstanding and it was an accidental block, and maybe they have no idea who we are. I have no idea. That's what it seems like. It seems like he has no idea who we are. I I doubt it. I don't know though, so I don't want to speak about it too much and come off like I'm saying anything negative because like I said, we started our channel because of them. Like we watched them and it definitely inspired us to do a channel. Him, Jim Skelton, Nick Shabazz, Metal Complex. Those are all the guys I was watching that inspired me to start a channel. And Birdshot and Frankie. So, I definitely owe homage to them for that. Um, Regardless of what they think about me. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie and drag them or dog them out if they don't like us. That has nothing to do with how I feel about them. What am I carrying today? I'm actually carrying the Yo Jimbo. I did a poll. If you guys want to answer it, you can. I did a poll on would you rather have. Let me grab the matriarch. Would you rather, if it was for a self-defense knife, and a lot of people answered this. I'll give you guys the majority here in a second, but if you had to choose a self-defense knife, a knife for self-defense, would you rather have the Spyderco Yojimbo or the Spyderco Matriarch? Now, this one does come with a wave, but you can always add a wave to these. So, this one does the ripping and the tearing. This one can do the slashing and the poking. So, just two different kinds of styles and knives. Both of them are definitely made to do damage. Now, I know what I would pick. And basically, the majority of the people, now, both people had like reasons, right? So, like a lot of people said, if it was solely just self-defense, then the matriarch. But if it was going to be an EDC knife plus self-defense, then the Yojimbo. And I got to kind of agree with that. I use my knife for other things, and then if I had to, I could use it for self-defense. But it's going to be doing a lot of other things. So I want it to be capable of that. Not that this can't do things, right? This is definitely still really good, but you don't want to be sharpening serrations once a month, or maybe you do. I don't know. If you have a Dremel, they're not bad. Haven't had any problems with corrosion on my Guardian 3. Let's see. All right, I'm backed up like a zombie. Shout out to Cue Ball. Definitely go and check his channel out. That's true. I remember Jared telling me about Birdshot a few years ago when we started talking. Yeah, and like I said, I don't know like what happened like with them blocking us, if it was a purpose thing or not, like you never know what actually happens. There's sometimes there are mistakes, but things just went together perfectly. With the video on knife channels buying subscribers and stuff like that, and then me being blocked and stuff. So it definitely painted a light that I thought that they were that they didn't like us, right? Maybe that's not true. Like I said, I'm not going to say what he said or anything like that, but I can say that it definitely comes off like he's making it seem like he has no idea who we are. So I don't know if that's true or not. But I just don't want to start drama for nothing. If anything, I just want to be cordial and be friendly. After this, I'm definitely going to check out your tips and tricks. Yes, definitely do that, Floyd. After your recommendations about the work sharp kitchen rod, man, it works. Just need to go slow. Yeah, and so with a ceramic kitchen rod or ceramic rod period, there's multiple ways, and I'm going to do a full video on this, Floyd. So watch for my honing rod video. I just haven't done it yet, but I have a really good in-depth video coming on that. And I'm going to teach you how to professionally use it in lots of different ways, because a ceramic rod is a knife sharpener's multi-tool. You use it for a lot of different things. You use it to deburr your knives. You use it to maintain your knives, hone your knives. You also use it, you can use it to polish. You can use it to do recurves. You can use it to micro bevel. Like there's a lot of different purposes depending on the pressure you're going to use and how you're going to use it. So we're going to talk about all that stuff, but its first thing is honing. So, and it does it very well, even far better than a metal honing rod will do. It does what a metal honing rod can barely do. It does it well. After this, I'm definitely. Oh, I already read that one. That's the one I read. Stellar. Yeah, I feel like they're kind of removed right now, obviously, right? Like, not saying like that, if you're part of the community, you'd know me, but you got to be pretty removed, I would think, to, I don't know. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. Like, there's sometimes I'm removed from the community too, because I removed myself for, a couple weeks for whatever reason, but nah, let's be honest, I never do that. I recommend your channel to anyone who wants to know anything and everything knives, from budget to premium and sharpening. Thank you, Loot. I try to be as widespread as I possibly can with everything, whether it's the cost of knives or the types of videos or what the knives are being used for, to different types of sharpening. I try to do a little bit of everything. I don't want to be put into a box if I only do this. That's why I'm pretty open to doing like self-defense knives videos and shit like that. Good Needs Knives. Have you tried a knife similar to Middleton Made Knives Mini Ona? I'm not sure if I know what those are. See if I can find it. Oh, this looks pretty dope. Let's show the chat. So I've never seen these guys. So what's up, baby?
You need a kiss.
Thank you, baby.
On the back of your head.
I did. So here it is, a 5-inch blade. Holy cow. He's got a 5-inch blade. Is that right? Yeah, 5-inch blade. Holy cow. That thing's a beast. It looks dope. But no, I've never seen these guys. I wonder how much. $380. Is it USA made? Must not be USA made. Maybe it is. I don't know. Middleton Made Knives. Looks dope. I kind of want to see if these guys. Ono was designed to be a tough utility blade made material stones. It's a Kickstarter, so okay, so it was probably not made in the USA, but they have, I think, fixed blades and kitchen knives made in South Carolina. So I think just one's yeah, I think they're making chef knives and stuff in South Carolina. So very cool. I like checking out new guys. Fall shutting knife under $300. Shit, you can get a drop shutting knife under fucking $60, $70. The Towser. The Towser's an absolute guillotine. And you can even get the mini Towser or the Towser S small, and it's the same way. The Kaiser Land, that thing's fucking stupid smooth. So price doesn't have really, and not anymore. It used to. So when I first started the community, drop shuttiness had a lot to do with the quality of the knife, and a lot. So like how basically how well the knife was done, because it showed that it was nice and smooth and free flowing. Because before that, knives were super tight and they weren't free flowing and they weren't as smooth. And not some companies were trying to get the tightest tolerance as possible, so it made sense that they're going to be slower to open and more difficult to open. And that's why knives like Chris Reeves and a few other companies did so well, was because they were able to get super smooth action, not fall shut action, but super smooth action with extremely tight tolerances. Okay, so 9:03. We gotta get to story time, ladies and gents. Maurice is in the house with the 5 bones. Dr. J, I finished up my apple juice this morning and made my own bed. You're doing great, Maurice. Good for you, man. Everybody give Maurice a round of applause, man. He's doing great. And we love hearing that. Shout out to Maurice. So, all right, Q Ball. Thank you for joining, man. I appreciate you, brother. Would you buy a Kickstop Chavez if you already have the non-Kickstop version? I personally would. I think so. This is just my opinion, though. I think the Kickstop version is the best version. Um, I would love to see it with thumb studs too. Like that'd be cool if they did both, you know. But yeah, I mean, I would probably. But you know, if you already got one, you don't need to. So I did want to talk about a fragrance. So let's do two fragrances. Maybe we'll do three, but I wanted to bring up some super masculine, manly fragrances that are really, really good. So one of them is Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum, EDP. EDP, the Sauvage EDP. This is a very popular, I think it's the most popular men's fragrance right now, or at least over the past few years, because it is that good, right? Most wives, girlfriends, and just girls went in and smelt this and said, I'm getting that for my man, right? And then a lot of men walked in, smelt it, and said the same thing, because it is really, really good. This is a fragrance for basically any man. I would say, 20 years old and above, up would, even, you can be under that, but 20 and up, I would recommend the most. It's definitely a fragrance for men that like to be men, whether you drive trucks, tractors, or drive a sports car. Doesn't matter. As long as you're a manly guy, you're gonna really like this stuff. And it's a crowd pleasing scent. It's a blue fragrance, so it's a fresh fragrance, but it has something in it that not brightens it. It has something in it that darkens it and makes it kind of mysterious in a way, and makes it very, very masculine. I can't think of the note. I normally bring up the note breakdowns, but I'm not gonna today. But the Sauvage EDP is definitely one I highly recommend. It's the most popular men's fragrance for a reason, right? Sauvage can be kind of expensive, but damn good quality. And this thing's beast mode. It lasts like, I don't know, 14, 16 hours. Very strong. And when you spray it, it spreads. It's definitely good for the money. The next one I would say is Mancera Secret Boys. This is another one. I've spoken about it before. It's got the magnetic cap. Mancera is one of my favorite fragrance companies right now. That and Guerlain is my favorite right now. Not the actual scent, but the company. Well, this scent is one of my favorites too. But Mancera Secret Boys. This smells like pineapple and very woody, and it's definitely fresh, but it's a super masculine fragrance. This is definitely for manly men too. This is a great fragrance for it doesn't matter what type of man you are, whether you drive a sports car or you're in a tractor. This is going to be a or both, I definitely, when I smell, I definitely think of like, like a guy, on a motorcycle and shit like that. So, but it's a scent that women absolutely love and men love, because there's a lot of fragrances men kind of like shy away from at first. This is one that men pull towards just because you can smell it. It doesn't smell like a perfume. It smells almost like a beard oil or something. It smells like something super masculine. The pineapple's not a sweet pineapple. It's a plant pineapple. So it smells green. It smells like I said, it has a pineapple note, but it's a citrus note, pineapple note, and then a freshness. Then it adds some woodiness to it, and it really darkens it up again. It's definitely, shit's fire. But definitely recommend this one, the Mancera Secret Boys. I didn't write them down. I'm trying to get some affiliate links for some fragrances, but those are really good. The one I'm wearing actually right now is YSLO Electric. I'll get through this one quick. This one is a green minty fragrance. So it has, which I wasn't even a big fan of it at first. I love it now. It reminds me of almost like a new car, fresh car scent with and somebody sprayed like maybe something minty in there. That's kind of what it reminds me of, like where you can smell like the wood grain, the leather, a little hint of mint. So it has a little bit of sweetness, a lot of freshness. It's super fresh, a little tiny hint of sweet. Like it's so small, but then it has this mintiness mixed with the freshness. So it's like kind of like a shower gel, a men's shower gel scent mixed with a little bit of mint. And it's definitely green. It's a great one for like going out to the bar, going out to the club, picking up ladies, things like that. I think it'd be great for that. And like I said, it has this this very comfortableness to it. Like like getting into like a new car, like I said, with the wood grain, the leather, you know, maybe one of those danglers on the mirror that make it smell good, make it smell a little minty. I don't know. I love it though. Um, but yeah, this is the one I'm wearing right now. YSLO Electric. The blue, be careful because the blue electric is completely different. That one's like black pepper extreme. But I think it's they're all gone, so I don't think you can get those anyways. Um, that would definitely change the smell. Bacon and ball sweat. I think Beyonce said that's her favorite too. I'd say if you're smelling like bacon and ball sweat, you before ever thinking about a fragrance, you need to think about a shower. Think about washing your balls first. Horn for scents. I degradation for after another. How far those successful fellas fall. What the hell does that mean? Whoring for scents. A degradation after another. How far? I don't know what the hell that means, Big Daddy. Let me know what that means. Um, yeah, and possibly change your diet, Eric. Yeah, yeah, and possibly think about what you're eating. Yeah, for sure. Definitely change your diet. Plums Craig says, thoughts on the Medford Praetorian tea? Is it worth the hype or just a gimmick, money grab? I personally would stay away from it. There's a lot of Medfords I like, so I'm not saying stay away from Medfords, but I would say the Praetorian, it's super tight. It takes a long time to break in. It's never going to be super smooth. Like you're not going to get it, and you're not just going to get it in reverse flick it. That's not going to happen. You're going to have to two-hand open it for about 6 months, maybe muscle it and slow roll it. But if you get the Slim Middies or the Marauders, they're nice and smooth. This one's on bearing, so but yeah, I just did, and I don't think they're comfortable. They don't work good as knives. It's just not a great knife all around, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. I thought it was badass when I first tried them, but after I really tested them and really used one, I was like, fuck, I would never use this thing. The best place to buy fragrance is online discounters. So just look up fragrances online. There's Fragrantica, there's all different ones. Just literally look it up and find whatever's cheapest. Just look around a little bit because there's discounters that you can get it cheaper and cheaper. So I would say the reason why I don't link these guys is because my links will be too expensive because I'm linking them from Amazon, which is another store. So since they have to pay Amazon, they don't give you the discount. And I don't want you guys to get ripped off. Now there's sometimes I check and I can get good deals and then I'll link it. But I didn't even check these ones. But I'm just, I don't want you guys to get ripped off. I'd rather you guys go to a place that's going to serve you well. Or am I liking the Killian clone, the coffee one? I don't know, man. I don't know. So I got two different coffee fragrances. It's rum, coffee, and chocolate. So chocolate rum coffee. And that's what it smells like. I'll tell you that. It definitely smells like chocolate rum and coffee. Both of them. They're very, very similar. But I just don't know if I'd wear them. It's a little bit too much. I like coffee. I love coffee. I love drinking coffee. I just don't know if I really want to. Now, there's a lot of guys out there that be like, man, my girl loves coffee. She loves the smell of coffee. So I'd love to smell like coffee. In that case, go for it. My wife, she loves the smell of coffee, but I don't know. Um, I think if I was gonna use it, I have sprayed it on myself. I have tried it, and it does get the longer it lasts. So what I notice is the coffee note stays with it the entirety. The chocolate backs down, more the coffee comes out, and then it gets kind of woody in the end. So really, really woody, both of these. But I would say it's probably good to spray in your car, to spray under your seat, things like that, so that your car always smells like the coffee chocolate rum. Which in that case, that's a delightful smell to just get into a car and smell. But I don't know about giving somebody a hug, and shaking hands with somebody or walking past somebody and me just smelling like coffee and chocolate. Now, some girls would love that, right? I just don't know if I can tolerate that. I'd rather smell like one of these guys, right here. All right, so let's get to story time. So I was gonna tell a story about my father. That's what my dad smells like. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I was gonna talk. So the story I was actually gonna tell is kind of a weird story. I don't even know where I was gonna go with it. But so if you guys don't know, my dad wound up paralyzed from the nipples down, and I took care of him until he passed away. So my dad got hurt on the job doing construction, and got paralyzed. Lived 13 years after getting hurt, and I took care of him until he passed away. So doing everything for him. Well, when he first got hurt, my dad, the toughest man I've ever met in my life, and the men in general that surrounded me my whole life, the men that raised me, absolute beasts, like the toughest motherfuckers, hands down. Toughest men I've ever met in my life are the men that raised me. And because we did so much construction and everything, I had a lot of men around me. Well, my dad, was always a boss, always, he had his hands involved in everything, taking care of business, at every end. And when he got hurt, it stopped him he had to slow down, right? He obviously picked it back up later, and started running shit again. But it took him a while because when you get hurt, you're in the hospital forever. They're doing all the surgeries on you, all this shit. When we first got home, my dad always stayed strapped. He always had his gun. Well, there was one night, he was talking to me and he was talking about ending it. I'm not going to say the words, but you guys know what I'm saying. And I'd never heard him talk like that. And it got to me bad. Like it fucked me up because, my dad, being the strongest man ever, like him talking like that, like, I wanted him to want to live, and but I took his gun away from him. He didn't know it, but I did. I took it away from him. And like, I don't know, a few hours in, he winds up waking up in the middle of the night. Look, so then I wondered, like, if it was, so he starts screaming. He's screaming, for me. And I walk in, like, what? He's like, where the fuck is my gun at? I said, I took it from you. And then he got pissed. He got pissed because he's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do if somebody breaks in here? He's like, I can't fight, and he's saying all this shit. And I said, don't worry, I'm here. Like, don't worry about it. But I didn't want to give it back to him because I was worried. And I told him why. I told him straight up, like, Dad, if you're talking the way you are, I'm not, gonna make sure you have, a piece next to you. And I waited a few days and gave it back to him. I did wind up giving it back to him. I think he, because he was never like that. So, and I don't think he ever would have. But when you are that broken, that beat up, and you're realizing I'll never be with a woman again, I'll never be able to go to the bathroom by myself, I'll never be able to take care of myself, I'll never be able to walk, run, jog, sit down, anything anymore for the rest of my life. I'm just have to deal with, you know, but he got around. Don't get me wrong. That motherfucker got around. And after a few months, maybe like 6 months after getting hurt, maybe a little bit longer, he started running the show again. And, you know, had 3 phones and just doing everything you can imagine. He was a type like in my, I was always like this too, where you could be towing a car in the morning, working on a roof in the afternoon, selling baseball cards by 3, picking up a car to flip it by 4 o'clock, and then turn around and go fix somebody's plumbing, then turn around and go do a dope deal, and turn, like, it was just like, you were always doing 1,000 things. Like, it was never like, so my dad was always involved in like everything. So, and because he was so loved and knew so many people, he had the ability to to make things move. You could say that. He can make things happen. So, him having the army he had around him made it to where he could get anything done with just the, one call, or just pointing the finger. And yeah, and him knowing that, like, I'm gonna follow in the footsteps. It's one of the reasons why he raised me the way he was. I remember this one time, somebody, it was my cousin, right? I had a party, and had all kinds of people over at the house, and we destroyed the house. Well, like the next morning, no, it was that night. My dad, he's pissed. He's telling people, clean the fuck up, clean this place up, right? So everybody starts cleaning. Everybody, all my friends, everybody gets up and starts cleaning. Well, one of my cousins doesn't, and he's being cocky as shit. And my dad, he's in his wheelchair. It's an electric wheelchair. I don't know if you guys ever felt an electric wheelchair, but they're super powerful. They're fast, and they're like his was like 350 pounds without him in it. He was over 200 pounds, so altogether it was well over 500 pounds with him in it. And they're very powerful, very strong, right? They're made to carry super heavy people uphill and everything else. They go like 15 miles an hour. He tells my cousin to start cleaning up, and my cousin like just doesn't, and like says something cocky. I forget what he said. Well, my dad came flying after him with his chair around the corner, and he was standing there, hits him because he's in front of a couch, hits him like this, forces him to sit down, jams his legs against the couch. So like he's sitting down, my dad's wheelchair's hitting him, crushing his knees. And my dad, at the same time, when he hits him, because of the impact of hitting him, flies out of his chair on top of him and starts fucking punching the shit out of him. So he's trying to hit him, but my dad's still paralyzed, right? So he can't fight really. He's still paralyzed, right? He's gonna shoot you before he fights. So this is his nephew though. So he starts swinging on him, and my cousin, gets up and kind of, walks away, kind of laughing and mocking him, right? So I got pissed, and I grabbed my cousin by the throat and threw him out of the house, and kind of felt bad about it after. But the way he was kind of disrespecting my dad, and my old man told me to too. He was like, Jared, he actually wanted me to take him outside and beat the fuck out of him, but I just grabbed him up and removed him from the situation. I had one of my uncles kind of got pissed off at me. But I just, kind of told him like, this is what happened. I couldn't stand there and let him do that shit. So, but the old man was a wild man. He was awesome. He did, like every day was something different with him, was something crazy. Every day there was something different. Like, and it was just like so beyond crazy. Like nobody's brain could fathom like the type of crazy and the level of shit you could get into with him. I warned Jared about that a few days ago. Warned me about what? Tim Titus. Hey, Jared. Thought I'd let you know someone is out here using your name and tag trying to scam people. Yeah, they do that. There's nothing they can do about it. I report them constantly. When you see him, just report him. He's they're not, it's not. So so anytime I leave a comment, you're going to know it's me. You can see it's me. You can click on my thing. It'll take you right back to my page. If you see somebody commenting to you with my name and you click on their thing, it's going to take you to a page that has no followers, zero anything, right? Because they just made it yesterday. So just watch out. They're on everybody's page, on everybody's channel. It sucks. There's nothing I can do about it. You think YouTube's algorithm would be able to pick it up? I report them. I report hundreds of them a week. I can't keep up, but I try. You'll know it's me when it's all caps. That's hilarious. I like his cigarette, getting it, nurse flirting. I like his cigarette getting a nurse flirting. My dad was always hitting on the nurses. My dad, he got his nurses quit, the last ones. This was why I originally started taking full-time care of him, was we actually had a couple nurses that were coming by in the very, very beginning, but my dad kept trying to grope them, so they fucking quit. He one of them bent over with her shirt, and her shirt fell down like this, and my dad went, slipped his hand in there and got him a little nitty, and she got pissed and left. And then another one, I think bent over or something, and I don't know, he did something. My dad was a wild man, like I said. So so they quit. And then the place called and said, we're not sending anybody else out there. Like, like, you realize, like, they could press charges on you and all this other shit, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's how he was. Like, he didn't give a shit. So they stopped coming. So we didn't have any more nurses. But in the hospital, he would kind of do that shit and get away with it because they were really cool with him. And, he was there serving them and doing things with them. So, kind of making it to where they're gonna, be a little bit nicer to him and bring him extra whatever he wants, because, he's taking care of them on the side. They take care of him on the side. It becomes a good relationship, which he totally would have done with the in-house nurses, but, they didn't want to be groped. So not that they should. I'm not saying they should, but they definitely didn't want it. Jared's dad, nice Hooters nurse. Excuse me, Jared's dad. The owls outside. Nice Hooters. Excuse me, the owls outside. Like the SNL skit where the two old people ran a business and chased the employees around in their electric wheelchairs. Yeah, my old man would run over your foot and look you in the eyes while he's doing it with the most stern look. I mean, like dead face, like right in your eyes, and just right over your foot. And remember, 500 pounds, 500 pounds going over your foot, it would hurt. And man, he did everything. Like, he'd tear doors apart. Like, he'd go through doorways and just tear the doors right off the hinges and just keep going. Didn't give a fuck. So, like, being with my dad, like, you were always on the verge of getting into a fight or paying somebody off or fixing something, you know. What do you think about the bad blood between Blades and EDC and the Puerto Rican? I don't know about it. I have no idea. I have no comment. I don't even know what we're talking about. Should I know? My cousin used to pinch my grandma's oxygen hose. He deserved to be run over with a wheelchair. um, what's the difference between arguing with a woman and a knife? The knife actually has a point. Banger. Your dad was like Al Bundy. No, he was my dad. You can't really, place him. I would say, you guys ever seen oh, what the hell's the name of that movie? Um the Departed. The Departed. Um Remember the movie The Departed? If you guys have seen that. And what the hell's the guy's name? Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson. My dad was kind of like him to an extent. So you can kind of think about him like that to some extent. Like, he was just, crazy as fuck, had his hands involved in everything, and took care of a lot of people. Took care of a lot of people in a good way, not a bad way, guys. A lot of people relied on him. He liked that, and that's what kept him going. It kept him going, that people needed him, and not only needed him but wanted him, and everybody went to him for everything. He, like I said, he took care of shit, and because he had so many people around him, he could do whatever he wanted. He had boys all around him, all me, my friends, family. So he could send 3 guys over here, 2 guys over there, and it made him have something to kind of live for, because, that's how he was when he got hurt. So him being able to go back in that lifestyle definitely made it to where, because like even like with poker and stuff, like he was a gambling motherfucker. He loved poker. So like I grew up at the poker table. Like my oldest memories are me on the knee of my dad playing poker. So like things like that, being able to do those things, wheeling and dealing and stuff, that was my dad's shit. His name was Raymond. Al Pacino in Heat was the perfect cop, OCD, and would do it for nothing. Favorite movie? Not a knife question, but now I'm curious. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know what my favorite movie would be. I have a lot, like I obviously I grew up on like Goodfellas and Outsiders, Casino, um, Godfather, Scarface. I mean, I grew up on a lot of things like that. But then there's been a lot of great movies since then. Like The Departed, we just talked about. That's a fucking great movie. Um, there's so many movies I like. So I don't know about a favorite. I can't pick an absolute favorite. When I was a kid, my favorite movie was From Dusk Till Dawn with Quentin Tarantino and George Clooney. I loved that movie back in the day. Pulp Fiction, another great one, another banger. Pulp Fiction, yeah, that's another good one. Oh, you definitely would. You definitely would. My dad was, yeah. My dad even had like slot machines and things like that. Like he was always, like I said, he had his hands in everything. So, you know, he'd have, all kinds of poker games, multiple days a week. Sometimes it'd be every day of the week they'd have poker games. So, The Usual Suspect is a classic. Yes. I have not seen it. I have not seen that. Um, do you know when the Jack Wolf Gunslinger will be back in stock? Hate I didn't buy one. No, I don't think. I think it's going to be a little while. I think I think he's going to go back to some slips until, because remember, these things take planning. So now he's seen how that went. He knows that it's going to go good. So he's going to be able to do that. I don't know when the next ones will come or the next styles will come, but I think his next design is going to be a slip, like like his other old stuff. The Cheech from Cheech and Chong intro in that movie, epic history. Yeah, yeah. That he played 3 or 4 different characters in that movie. He was a bunch of different characters. The Cheech from Cheech and Chong. Uh, what Leo's best was in Titanic. I like him, man. I think he does really good work. I like most of the movies he does. Just like Mark Wahlberg, most of the movies he does are fire. So Reservoir Dogs, that was my brother's favorite movie. That was my brother's favorite movie. Before he passed away, he loved Reservoir Dogs. That was his shit. I don't know, 20 years ago, she had furniture as long as I had a face. Which one in your wallet? The one that says bad motherfucker. Which one's your wallet? The one that says bad motherfucker. Um, Selma Hayek. Yeah, yeah, that was her first role. That was her first movie. Was From Dusk Till Dawn. Uh, and yeah, she was gorgeous. She was beautiful. She was on the stage with that python. That was when she was really beautiful too. Like she was super young. She was probably only like 20, maybe like 21, maybe. My dad lives for the flea market. He loves the wheel and deal. Yeah, my dad he'd get involved in that stuff too. He loved like he loved collecting things. But also it wasn't about the collecting though, it was about the resale. So like everything was for sale. My dad would buy me a birthday present and a month later would sell it. I promise you he would. Like people think like that sounds crazy, but to me that was normal. Like if my dad bought me a birthday present, like I had to hide it and he'd probably find it later and sell it. Not to be mean, like he'd give me the money for it, but just because he could score more money for it than he paid. Like that's just the way my dad was. Everything had a price tag, everything was for sale. Uh, And if he could make money and, like, and if I ever did something and didn't take it, he'd be mad at me, like, he'd be pissed. Like, "You had the chance to flip this for how much and you didn't take it? Like, what are you, a fucking idiot?" Like, that's how my dad was. So, he would buy antiques and then, try to figure out if he could flip them and things like that. Um, just the way he was. So, and that was, like, with everything though, like, whether it was cars, tools, jobs, other things, s someone is, like, 50 and way hotter than most. So, I'd say she's not like she used to be, let's be honest. But yeah, still a beautiful woman for a 50-year-old for sure. Thank you for answering all my comments and questions. Great guy and great Chandler. Thank you, Chandler. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. I would be Shakira's bar stool today. How'd your brother pass if that's not your personal? Drug overdose. Drug overdose. Um, I've done CPR on a lot of people. I couldn't even tell you how many, but I've only technically lost one, and that was him. Um, I've had a lot of other people die, but never with me doing CPR on them or trying to save their life. Thank God I've been able to save everybody else. Uh, but it's always the best to go, right? Um, Neves, do you know if there's a way for me to get a REATE T1000? No, I don't. You just look around. Oh, maybe NAF sale. Check out NAF sale. That's a place where they'd pop up. Check eBay. That'd be another place. Check eBay. And Johnny B all day, he's got some health things going on right now. You can go and check out his YouTube channel. He talks about it. They're actually doing a knife raffle for him. I don't know all the details. I just seen the information before we went live, so I didn't get a chance to get into it too deep. But Johnny B all day. Go and check out his YouTube channel. Give him some love and support. You know, it's I think, obviously I think the money is going, yes, Johnny B all day. I think the money's gonna go to obviously his health things. And there's a bunch of knives. Scab got involved. Scab recorded something with the raffle. I think it's going on right now. But you gotta go check it out. Like I said, I seen the information right before I went live. I didn't get a chance to deep dive into it, but I seen somebody asking me if I could say something, so I'm trying to say something. I don't know all the information. Jared, any thoughts on the Bark River folder? I've heard bad and good. It's 500 plus. I don't even know what it is. I'm gonna look it up. Bark River folding. I'm not seeing a folding knife. Bark River eyes folding knife. Yeah, I'm not finding it. I don't know. What's the name of it? Give me the name. What is the name, Rick? Is it? It's your first person you subscribe to? Thank you, Todd. There's Donnie B's channel. You guys can go and check him out. Give him some support. Um, yeah, definitely give him a sub. And go listen to his story and stuff. He's pretty entertaining. He's pretty cool. He's got some funny videos. I've seen a few of them. I seen this nunchuck one. He had some like EDC nunchucks or something. They were expandable. So like they're small and they expand, but they're a real set of nunchucks. Shit was hilarious. KAVISO is selling used now. I didn't know that. That's awesome. I wish I knew the name of it. Rick, be glad we're able to save ourselves from that shit, bro. Nobody gets out alive, but we bought ourselves a bit more time anyways. Jerry Care, that's what it's all about. Yeah, yeah. I've definitely lost a lot of people. A lot of fucking people. Um, it's when I start thinking about it, like it breaks my heart because I also know people right now that are I'm just waiting, you know. It's kind of like just like a waiting game. It's eventually going to happen and it kills me inside, because I want to do everything for them. I want to save them, but you can't save them, there's nothing you can do. And I have some that are like so close to me, like you would think of your brother or your sister. So, but it's life, and I've definitely done a lot of harm and a lot of bad in my past. So it's like I'm no one to judge. But I definitely know what it's like to get out of it too, and to get out of a life of crime and get out of being a piece of shit. And yeah, addiction's hard to kick though. When that's what you're doing, when addictions got you by the balls, man, it's fucking tough, man. Jared, I have an idea. Don't buy knives for a month and save money. Then use that to build a fence in the backyard and get a puppy for Kara. Yeah, right. Maybe when we move, we can't get a puppy here. But maybe when we move, we could do something like that. What's up, everyone? Just swinging in to say what's up. What's up, G Ball? Thank you for swinging in. What's up, Greg? We'll be here for I don't know 10 more minutes or so. We're playing a long one tonight. Um, Arizona Customs Knives sells used as well. Yes, they do. And then somebody said KAVISO is now too. Yeah, I think Scab is doing the raffle for him. Like I said, I don't know all the details. If you go through his channel, you'll see it. If you go to Scab's channel, you'll probably see it. 40 years sober. Thank God. That's awesome, Johnny. That's awesome. Good for you, man. To be honest, getting into knives is helping me get over my own addiction. So thanks for the help, everyone. Yeah, it definitely helped with mine too. When I first got into the community, I was on probation still. I was fighting a case. I was, fresh, fresh off the streets, you could say. Um, and was changing my life, in real time, when I started the channel, and I was doing everything possible and like staying sober wasn't even the hard part. The hard part was getting through probation. The hard part was not going to prison. The hard part was doing everything perfect, because they don't leave you any string. Like they leave you just enough to hang yourself. And it's made to be that way. The system is made for you not to get out. I am so blessed that I got out of the system. Even when I was a kid, I had a juvie record, and my juvie record just kept getting added onto. It's like, and I learned really quick as a kid, like this shit is made for you to stay in the system. It's not made for you to rehabilitate or get out or anything like that. And so when I got on probation, this last time, I knew like either one, I got to go 100% perfect and be able to do everything perfectly, or I just need to go to prison, because it's just inevitable. That's what's going to happen. So and obviously, you guys can tell what I chose, but that was already after fucking around for so long. Like I got some crazy stories being on probation and fucking off and doing stupid shit, and just dumb as shit. But eventually, I knew like the walls were closing in. So it was like, okay, what are you doing? You're gonna get straight, you're gonna stop fucking around, you're gonna get your shit together, or you going to prison, so. And it I turned everything around, thank God. But it was not easy. It was very, very, very difficult. I had to. They want you have to pay for all these things while they want you to do community service every week. They want you to do Nikasa hours. They want you to do counseling. They want you to do like AA shit like that. They want you to be able to drop randomly. You have to be in 6 to 6. So like I had curfew 6 to 6. So from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I could be gone. But between 6 at night till 6 in the morning, I had to be at home. And they would stop in. They'd stop in and make sure. And I was on like intense probation. So like instead of like once a month seeing the judge, I had to go see the judge once a week. So once a week, I also had to do that. Then after like so long, they stretched it to like to 2 weeks, and then they stretched it to a month, and then then they stretched it even longer, after you don't fuck up. But when you have a record of fucking up so much, they're just expecting you to fuck up, and then they leave you so many ways to get caught doing something. Like I said, randomly people would show up to drug testing, right? And then I'd have to go in once a week to court and drug test. But aside from that, that wasn't even the bad part. I have to do all these other hours and pay for it. How are you supposed to work, right? A job when you have to be in 6 to 6 and you have all these other things you have to do. You can't just tell your job like, oh, sorry, got to go to Nikasa. Oh, sorry, got to go to community service, right? And I had like, I don't even remember how many hours I had. It was a lot. It was a lot. So it makes it to where, man, you can't see the end, man. You can't see it. You really can't see it. It doesn't feel like it, you feel like you're just like on the verge. It's like tripping. Like you feel like the second I trip, like everything's gonna just fucking crumble, and that's how you feel. And I've told the story. Maybe I shouldn't get into it right now, but I told the story about when I was locked in. It's called pre-trial. So pre-trial is like you're in a court case and you're out. So you're basically out on bond, basically, right? That's kind of what it is. But you have pre-trial. So you have to go to pre-trial every court. So every time you go to court, you have to leave and go to pre-trial, and you have to piss and basically drop clean or dirty, right? So I was in there one time, absolutely dirty, absolutely dirty. And they lock all the doors so you can't get out. You're fucked. Like when you get caught, you're going to jail too, because like there's one door going to jail and one door leaving the building for freedom, right? But they're locked. So you can't just like say like, oh fuck, and then run. You can't just run. Like there's no way. Once you go in, you're not coming out. Unless if you're clean. And somehow I was able to make shit happen while I was in there. And fuck, it still makes my heart race today thinking about it, what I was doing in there. The tricks I had to pull to make it out of there was just absolutely insane. What's better than returning customers? Our legal system is predatory in nature. Everybody just wants a bigger budget, and they use the citizens to achieve it. Yeah. They give you impossible tasks to make you give up. Doesn't really help at all. Just forces you to throw in the towel. Yeah, well, it makes it to where you're gonna fuck up, right? Like it's like levels. Like okay, you fucked up this. Okay, well now you have an extension of probation, right? Or we make things tighter, right? It's like, oh, so you like couldn't do your Nakasa hours or something like that. It's been 6 months. It's been too long. So now we're gonna hit you with extra fines and extra. And that's the thing, is that everything is fines. Everything is more and more and more money. Every fucking thing. And like them having me come. Think about this. I was barely working. How can you work doing all that shit, right? So trying to fund anything is like nearly impossible. Yet every time, and I have to go every week to court, I have to pay every single time. Not meaning I have to pay every single time I'm there, but every single time I'm there, it gets another charge because it's the court costs. So they're just like stacking, stacking and racking. By the end, luckily, I was doing so good. I did so good that the judge actually was going to let me off early, which was crazy to me that I was able to do that. And I actually requested not to be let off. That's how good I was doing. I was doing so good. I requested to stay on probation a couple more months, but I was clean, doing great, working, making money, I was doing great. But the reason why I didn't want to get off was because if I got off, then they would send what I owed to collections. So in order not to have that done, I wanted to be able to pay off everything. And I only had like a few more $1,000 to pay off or something like that. So it was like, just, stay on probation, stay paying it off. Then, by the end, I'll be done. And then it won't have to go to collections or anything. That all costs on top of the fine. Yeah, it all costs every bit of it. Nothing doesn't cost. Nothing doesn't cost. There are some times where they can get you into like say rehabs that'll fund it. There are sometimes you can do that. There are some things where they cover, but 99% of everything you're going to deal with in court costs money to some extent. And even if like you can't pay it then, like it's just going to be stacked up ready for you to one day make some money so they can take it from you. um but yeah, it's a dirty judge making money off sending us to jail. I saw it in Law and Order. I see. Well, yeah, I think there's going to be some great judges and some bad judges. I think it's just like everything else, right? It's just like police, just like everybody. There's going to be good and bad. But I do think that in some cases, I think some. So this is what I don't like. I don't like departments where I feel like they're incentivized to get people in trouble, right? They shouldn't be out looking for people getting in trouble. That's not what a cop should be doing. A cop should be waiting for a call for something happening and then go deal with the call. They shouldn't be out just like looking for people, checking IDs and stuff like that, and pulling people over for dumb shit. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. Their job is to protect our freedoms. That's their job. Their job is to protect our freedoms. So if your job is to protect our freedoms, then why are you trying so hard, so fucking hard to violate my freedoms, right? And I hate that, and I think that that is all a big money scam, and they're just making money off of it, and the state's making more money, and but I hate it because I know, even though I know some people are doing bad things, and when they get pulled over, they're doing bad things. You're talking about something so petty that's going to ruin this person's life. I remember when I was 18, I had just turned 18. I got my first apartment. So I had already had a juvie record, right? Already had a juvie record, got off probation, did that, went through years of dealing with that. Then now I'm 18, my records expunged or whatever, because now I'm over 18. So I don't have to worry about that chasing me anymore like it was when I was younger, because it chases you up until you're 18. But once you turn 18, now they can't see it or anything no more. And I'm coming back from my mom's. I got a job. My dad's paralyzed. I'm taking care of him. I'm doing construction and working at a nursing home. Like I'm doing like so many things at once. I have my own apartment. I'm 18, like literally just turned 18. Got my own apartment in the hood. Like it wasn't a nice place, but my apartment was nice, right? It was a nice place for me, right? I was doing really well. Had nice furniture, nice everything. And this cop lies. So he what he did was he actually pulled up next to me, and it's like 12 o'clock at night. I'm 2 blocks from home. I'm about to turn in my alley. And he sees I don't have a seatbelt on, and he fucking almost runs me off the road, gets behind me, pulls me over. Well, I literally pull over in my own alley, right? And I didn't want to make it seem like I'm running, so I stopped. And he gets out and lies and says I was doing 60 and a 35. And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And like I was like, "I seen you the whole time." Like my car couldn't even get up that fast. Like where I turned and where he was, it's impossible. My car would have had to have been a fucking a Lamborghini or something to do that. It was a Mazda MX-6. So it wasn't that damn fast. It was quick, but it wasn't that damn fast. So he lied about that. Then what do you do after that? So I told him, I was like, no, I wasn't. As soon as I said no, I wasn't, he opened up my door and ripped me out of the car, started searching me, and found a marijuana pipe, right? Something so stupid. And then arrested me. And all I could think about, was like, I got off paper. Right now, I'm about to be back on papers, which it really wasn't. It was just a fine, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But this is what I was thinking at the time. Like, and I was saying this to the cop. I said, "You're fucking gonna ruin," and I started calling him all kinds of names. I said, "You're gonna sit here and try to ruin an 18-year-old that's working really hard, has his own apartment. You know, you're gonna try to ruin his life over a damn paraphernalia charge while there's people right now out killing people." Like, and that's what I was basically saying to him, because it's like, we're in an area where you don't have to go far to find crime. Like, you can drive down the block. You're gonna see the homies selling dope. You're gonna see there's gonna be gangbangers all over the place. Wait an hour, you'll there'll be a shooting somewhere, right? You got plenty of work. Why are you fucking with me? And it's like the people that are actually doing right by society, which I know it was a pipe, and at the time it was illegal, but it just was a charge, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But what he did to me was fucked up, though. He cuffed me up, put me in the back seat, and starts running off the side of the road like this. Because when you're in the back and you're cuffed, it's so tight back there. When they turn or stop, you're getting beat up the whole time. So you're literally bam, 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 bam. So he fucked me up back there. And yeah, it was stupid. He started running off like the side of the roads and shit, and like going in like between like the ditches. Like when you have like a corner, like instead of turning the corner, you'd go into the ditch and turn it. Just trying to prove that he was, he could do whatever the fuck he wanted. I just got pulled over 2 stop signs and a red light after I rolled through a stop sign. I remember one time I ran from a cop, and I ran from him because I already had a head start. So I was trying to catch somebody, and I didn't want to lose them. So I was ripping, I was flying, and I flew through a couple stop signs, like just right through. And it was nighttime. So what I would do is I'd turn my lights off, right? Coming up to the intersection. If I didn't see lights, then I would turn my lights back on and drive through it. So I'm going through, which I know is dangerous as fuck. Obviously, it's stupid. Obviously, I'm saying I'm stupid, and I was very stupid. I was hot-headed and just crazy as shit. I shouldn't have been doing this, but I was. And so I'm flying down this road. It's like a back road with stop signs galore, and I'm just right through them all. Well, I wind up passing up one road, and there's a cop there, and he's got his lights off. He's chilling, and I see him clear as day. Like as I'm going by, going like 90. I see him. I'm like, fuck. So instantly, he fires his lights up. So I punch it. Like I don't have it floored right now. Like I'm just going really fast. So I punched it. Zipped through about 4 more stop signs. And he's on the chase, right? He's chasing me. Well, I turned up, I hit a corner, and I turned a corner, and then my plan was to jump on the main road and then be gone. However, plan went to shit when I got to the main road, and it was packed traffic. Like there was no way I was doing anything. So I got caught. I had, at that point, I'm giving up, right? I wasn't going to continue running when I got caught, right? Point was I had a chance to run. And he came up to my car so pissed, like obviously, right? Because I was running from him. But I had the good excuse that I didn't see him. So to him, I might not have been running. He knew I was running, though. He knew it. So he blames me for running 7 stop signs. And I told him I only ran 1. I said, no, I only ran 1. He chased me through 4. So he knew I ran more than 1. Well, because I was arguing 1, he was arguing 7. He came back with a ticket that said 11. He said, oh, you want to be a smart ass, huh? So, but what he did was, this is what he did actually. He got a call for a shooting. So he was about to beat my ass. Like he was about to go crazy. Went back to his car, ran my shit, didn't even get a chance to do anything. He literally came back with that ticket so fast and fucking threw it at me and just walked away. Like it was so fast. Like he literally just whipped it at me in my face and took off running. So he had to have gotten a call that was so important, like I don't know, cop hit, something like that. I don't know. Something that made him leave what he was doing with me. So thank God. Well, when I went to court, I proved that there wasn't 11 signs on that place. There was only 7 altogether. So I wound up pleading out to 4 or something like that. Not that big of a deal. Yeah, I think there's some good cops out there. I just think there's also a lot of shitheads. I think there's a lot of them. And listen, I'm not trying to talk shit about cops. Listen, man, I've been on the opposite side, and I still, even in the opposite side, have met some good cops. I've met a lot of shit ones too. So I don't want to call all of anything something. I think there's going to be some great ones out there, but I would just hope that the good ones are doing their best to actually stand by that oath that they took, the oath that they took to uphold our freedoms and to actually protect our freedoms. Right, that's their job. It just drives me nuts, the thousands of videos I see a week of cops trying to violate people's rights. I hate it, man. It literally makes me sick because people don't know. And that's the problem, is most people don't know their rights. That's the problem. People don't know their rights, so they don't even realize, like, stop talking to that cop. You're trying to be nice, talking to this cop, and this cop's just being a fucking snake, trying to get everything out of you so that he can bust you for something, even though you're just trying to be a nice guy by telling him what he's asking. The fact that he's asking you anything should tell you to shut your fucking mouth. Oh, man. 7-Eleven, my dude. Impressive men don't become cops. I am yet to meet one. What if someone was doing the same thing? What do you mean? What if someone was doing the same thing on what? I got in a pinch in Texas. I stepped through the cuffs in the back seat. Get the station. They look like, we can charge you for that. I'm like, bruh, I'm not like I'm going anywhere at this point. He's like, true. Yeah, they'll pin some extra shit on you real quick. My worst ticket was 155 and a 55. Yeah, that'll get you. That'll get you. The cop gave me an option: take a beating or go to jail. He beat my ass and gave me 13 tickets. Yeah, I'd have took the beating myself. I took the beating. Fuck the charges, but $7,500. Yeah, yeah. I just got done paying off all my shit. Well, not just, I paid it off like last year, but I need to go and get my license back. I still don't have it back. I just need to go. I keep pussyfooting and not doing it, but I've already paid it all off. All my fines are paid. Everything's done. I'm not on paper whatsoever. Not even a little bit, which is crazy. 10% of cops are excellent humans. Would have done well in combat, but damn, they really don't say shit when 90% of their coworkers are robbing the citizens. Right. And that's the problem I guess I have, because I look at it like, let's say it's 10%. Let's say it's 10%. Let's say 10% are absolutely awesome. The fact that the 90% are violating, people's rights and freedoms, and they're standing by to see it without getting rid of them. Like I understand having a brotherhood. I get it. Trust me, I get it. Like, I have friends that there's nothing I wouldn't do for, and I'd stand by them through anything, right? And never snitch on them, never nothing. So I get it. I 100% get it. But the fact that you're coming into the job and swearing an oath to uphold and protect the citizens' rights, not your own, right? So that's where it's like, I understand brotherhood on the streets. I understand brotherhood in the military. I understand brotherhood and that bond through almost anything. But when it comes to police, it's just a little bit different, because then it makes it seem like it's you versus us, right? Like, I don't know if anybody else feels like that, but that's how, it feels. It feels like, oh, the guys with the badges are them, and then we're us, and it's almost like the enemies. Like, I never remember growing up and trusting cops. Like, we always ran from them. We were scared of them. We had seen, people beat up and lives ruined by them. So who wanted to be busted with, who wanted to call them? And you'd see people call the cops, and then the cops would show up and arrest, some of the people that called them and shit. So it's like, they don't care what they do. They'll just arrest anything for anything. It's a percent that gets a bump from domination and you showing fear. It's a demographic. Yeah, they definitely it's definitely a control thing. They definitely get power. That's why I meant power. When you have power in anything, yeah, you're gonna there's gonna be people that are gonna abuse it. That goes with anything, anything. Like you see what happened to all the Starbucks workers and Target workers when they had that mask shit. They were trying to force masks on everybody as if like it was law, and as if like they had the badge to get you. I didn't give a fuck. I never wore a mask. Never gave a shit about a mask. Never wore one. I didn't give a fuck. There's more shitty cops I feel now, since the good ones probably mostly quit because people shoving phones in their faces and talking shit. No, see, that's the thing. The good ones should want to stay for that. The good ones should like the fact that the citizens are expressing their rights, because that's their freedom. Their freedom is to put a camera in their face. You're allowed to cuss at a cop. You're allowed to put a camera in a cop's face. Those are all your freedoms that he's supposed to protect. So when and the thing is that because so many cameras have caught so many crooked cops, now it's like now everybody's like, they feel like if they don't. And the thing is I've watched cops go from absolutely about to like do some illegal shit to you, to stopping and not doing it and leaving because of camera. So it can stop you from things happening. I've had a lot of bad things happen to me with cops, so it's difficult for me to trust them when I've had so many bad things happen. It's just not possible. Like I've had them rob me. I've had them fucking slap me around. And like I said earlier, I talked about the one beat me up in the back seat with his own car. I've had stupid shit, and I'm not saying sometimes maybe I didn't deserve some shit, as I probably did. It just, like I was a shithead too. Like I was definitely the bad guy. So I don't deny that. A good police officer will be 100% professional about citizens putting a phone in their face. Yeah, yeah. They'll say, "Yep, that's your freedom and that's your right. Go ahead, film me all you want, because I am not violating your rights. So you can film me. That's the way it should be, you know." But the thing is that when that camera comes on now, they feel some type of way, because if the judge sees it and sees them pushing things that they shouldn't be, or saying things they shouldn't be in order to violate rights, now it makes them look bad because they're not supposed to do that. That's my point. Most of the shit they're doing, they're not supposed to do. Like there's so much when you really look into it. There's so much that cops should not be doing, that they absolutely get away with all the time. But it is what it is. And I'm not talking shit about them. Like I said, there's a lot of amazing cops. We need cops. We absolutely need cops. Um, you know, especially in, areas where there's a lot of crime. Like obviously you need cops in those places. They're definitely the ones that are going to protect and serve. And they are like, the first line of defense. Like, and I applaud them for that. Like I can't sit here and talk shit about them when I know how many people they save, children they save. It's like firemen, running into burning buildings. I'm not putting them in the same boat. I'm just saying that, they put their life on the line for us. And I respect that. I respect any man that does that. I would just respect it more if I knew they were doing it with a good heart on that oath that they took. That's just that, to me, that's the most important thing. Is that because they're supposed to be protecting our rights from the government and things like that. Like they're supposed to be upholding our rights. That's their job. Their job. That the oath that they swore to uphold was that. So, um, with I keep sending you money and it's not showing up. Hold on. Let me see if it'll show up over here. I'm sorry if that's true. I will double check right now. What's going on? All right, give me 1 second. I gotta wait for my chat to pop up. I will not put that rose. Okay, come on. I don't know why the chat won't even pop up. I'm just gonna restart this. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're not doing it right. That's the only thing I could think of. Oh shit, and I had it. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Yep, there's been no donations or anything. So I don't know, bud. I'm sorry. Their job isn't even to protect. Like that whole protect and serve is all bullshit. How the fuck are they going to protect you? Like they show up to investigate the crime, not to stop it. Like I understand the thought process, but the serve part is the most important. They're supposed to serve the citizens, you know. But yeah, like let's say if serve and protect is that it's not pull over and violate. It's not let's see if we can find a crime. It's not let's push them until they tell us a crime. You know, it's not detain them until we can get them to say something that will get us a ticket to give them. You know, like come on. All right, guys, I'm gonna take off. I appreciate all you guys hanging out with me. I'm gonna read this last one. Blake says, all you got to say is, hey man, if you're right, then my cameras can only help your argument and evidence against me. There you go. Guys, thank you guys for all the donations tonight. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. I see 153 of you, 152 because I hit the like button myself. So thank you guys. If you guys haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. Like I said before, I have a lot of great content coming, and we have giveaways going on to the members on Sunday, and the Patreons are coming up too. So that'll be coming really soon. I'll see all the members on Sunday, 12:15 Central Time. What's the next thing I wanted to say? Don't forget that REATE EXO is in stock. I put it down in the description if you want to get a REATE EXO. Seth coming in hot at the end. 12:15 Sunday live show. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, Seth. Thank you. It's 10:11 where I'm at. Thank you, Dennis. Yeah, thank you guys for all the support. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I greatly appreciate it. I will see you guys on Saturday. And yeah, we'll make sure we have a fun live on Saturday. Me and Kara are talking about getting together for a live, me and her having some subject matters and talking about them together with you guys. So not sure if we'll be doing that on Saturday, maybe. We'll see how it goes. But like I said, I do have some great content coming up. So if you guys are so kind to watch my content, I know you guys do. So thank you guys for that. I love you guys. Work hard, stay tough. You know, society's relying on you. Until next time, peace.